And what's happening, everybody? Welcome along to another episode of 420 News. Slightly delayed there, guys, as you can see, got somebody here, and yes, yes, he was keeping me busy. He was due a bottle at 420, but he stretched it out. Then he didn't bother waking up until a little bit closer to 20 to 5, and he started looking for it then. But he's happy out now. Big belly full of milk there on him, and we've the microphone in the way. That's a balls. I should switch over to the other microphone, shouldn't I? Or just relocate this. Feel bad feel bad blocking out the little man. But he's going to drift off to sleep there now shortly. As I say, he has a big belly full of milk on him there now. He's just after being burped. And he'll be quite content there listening to my voice now over the next few minutes, and hopefully I'll put him off to sleep. But what's happening out there, guys? Apologies about the hour delay there anyway, and hopefully this finds you all well, guys. I know I had a great weekend. Shout out to the Cannabis Activist Alliance, who came down to Cork City. Some of the members of the Alliance came down to Cork City. We managed to get ourselves an Airbnb for the night, courtesy of the Funky Skunk. So guys, get out there and support the Funky Skunk in Cork, and above in Dublin also, as the owner of the Cork store the Cork store was very courteous and assisted us there with the Airbnb for the night. So I really appreciate that support there. So it'd be great, guys, if you could go down likewise and show some support back to the Funky Skunk. And I know many of you already do, as it's a great store with great products, great offerings. So nice one again to Helen and crew there at the Funky Skunk. Thanks very much, and great weekend it was. Not a drink to be had above there, as in alcoholic beverages. There was plenty of water and other type of fizzy drinks being drank, but the majority of us enjoyed the festivities with all of us enjoyed the festivities with the consumption of cannabis. The cannabis was flowing very well there over the weekend. I brought along the volcano that you've seen me hit up here at in the show. And I brought that up, and literally I just, that thing was going non-stop for about a good 2 hours. Just bowl after bowl, just being repacked, bags blown up, and just passing those things around. It was a great crack, great weekend, and woke up feeling a bit tired on Sunday, as it was about 5 a.m. by the time we were leaving, but it was a great night for all. So yes, that was my weekend. Hopefully everybody else out there had a good weekend. See a few heads in the audience there who I was with over the weekend. So howdy, guys. Shout out to everybody in the audience. We have at the moment Peter Kelly, R420 Supplies, Barry Fields, what's going on? We have Hype, Pods 4420. We've Martin Condon, what's happening, Martin? Pods 85, Jim Macon, what's going on? Bogwan's son is out there, what's happening, Bogwan? Good crack catching up with you over the weekend. Barry Fields also, good catching up with you over the weekend. Barry Fields says, Penny's got a whole lot of things for Christmas, got a lot for the family. Good stuff, the Christmas shopping being done there. And Barry Fields also saying, the people at Budweiser wish you and yours the very best this holiday season. And the Bud is capitalised there as well, just for those who don't realise. Others in the audience, Billy Bonds is out there. What's happening, Billy? Billy Bonds says, sort that music out like being in a shit elevator. It was the only kind of Caribbean style Christmas tunes I could find. You can hear like a ukulele in there. They got like some of those Caribbean instruments in there. But yes, I'd agree with you there, Billy Bonds. All right, it's like being stuck in a shit elevator. Others in the audience, we've Daily Talker out there. What's happening, Daily Talker? Zaggles, what's going on, Zaggles? Yes, we've got a special guest here, special guest Elijah, and as you can see here, just through the gap in the microphone, Elijah has passed out. He's enough of listening to me, and he's just like, yeah, sleep is better than this boring old fecker. But unlucky for you guys, you won't be falling asleep anytime soon. Or will you? Constant Gardeners out there, what's happening, CG? One of my Patreons, nice one. Thanks for that, CG. Welcome to the family, Patreon family, and shout out to anybody else who's a part of the Patreon family. I believe there's 14 of you now, so thanks very much to each and every one of you as well, guys, for signing up and supporting the show. Peter Kelly and Shining about what's happening. Peter saying, looking well, Elijah. Yes. Elijah knows how to rock the 420 news. He's having a 420 nap. Even though it's 5:20, but we won't say no more about that. Different time zones. What's happening, Casa de Strugas out there as well? Need to get matching baby beanies for the head. Yes, I'd agree with you there as well. Actually, over the weekend, it was Alexis who was rocking the beanie quite well. I'll get a photo up there in a couple of seconds. There as Alexis did me proud. Yes, getting out there representing with the hat on. Had a good crack with her walking through the city at one stage. We were going through the city. She was wearing a hat, and as you can see, it's green screened out now. But there's like 2 cannabis leaves either side of the Martin's Word logo. And Alexis was like, as soon as she seen the hat, she was just like, "Oh, Dad, can I have that?" So I was happy enough to let her have it, and she wore it going into the city. And it was funny enough, there was 2 cops going by, and I was joking with her. I was like, "Oh, look, Alexis, the guards there now, they're going to see the cannabis leaves in your hat, and they're going to want to search you." What'd she do? She done that little what's it called, that game, Fortnite, the Fortnite dance, where she done the loser sign and started kicking her legs outside the side, which was funny enough. 2 cops cycling by didn't have a clue what was going on. But I'll pop that photo of Alexis up on screen there now, as she was rocking the hat. One second more. Boom, boom, boom. Google Drive, Chrome, boom. There we go. Here she is. Yes, she rocked that hat well. Doing a much better job than me. Before she got on this carousel, actually, it was funny enough, Alexis said to me, "Dad, should I take off the hat? He might let me on it with the cannabis." Like, how innocent is that? She actually thought, like, that there's just having the leaves was enough to have her excluded there from getting on the carousel. Much like the leaves have had me excluded from being able to get on an aeroplane freely and travel to places like Orlando, Florida, where there's much better rides over there for us to enjoy. As yes, Alexis is a little thrill seeker as well, and she loves those roller coasters, and I hope someday soon I can get them over there to Orlando, Florida, without having to jump through all of the hoops I currently have to do as a convicted criminal, dangerous as I am. So dangerous here, like, that this guy is just like, out like a light, he's just like fast asleep. I don't know if you can hear him, like there's little snores. Let's see if I can get the mic down closer to him. No, he's too quiet with his snores. He's barely even moving the meter. He's sleeping while he is. Right, we get my microphone back in order. Decent. Yes. Other shout outs there to people in the audience I haven't got to yet. R420 Supplies, what's happening? It was great catching up with yourself over the weekend as well. And yes, it was a mighty weekend. Also have to give another shout out to Relief from Dungarvan and Clonmel, who brought down some great goodies as well for us over the weekend. Brought down some nice cam drinks, the cola version as well, which was quite nice. Others out there, other products they brought down as well was a load of CBD gummies, which were quite nice as well. The CBD gummies were the kind of the come down to the evening. But it was a great old crack, alright nonetheless. I feel bad that the microphone is blocking out this little cutie here behind me. Get over here, microphone. There we go, that's a little bit better anyway. Don't want to disturb him either. Poor little guy. They're so helpless under this size as well. Like, they virtually rely on you for everything that they do except pooping and crying. Pooping and crying are probably the only 2 things they can do unassisted. Yes, others out in the audience. Keith Griffin's out there. What's happening, Keith? Sean is in the audience. What's going down, Sean? Deep Pete as well, saying healthcare and pointing out the fact you can't spell healthcare without THC. Yes, love it, Pete. Cool Vibe. What's going on out there? Cool Vibe A&E. Others in the audience. Yes, I didn't miss your Cool Vibe anyway. Daniel Crowley, what's happening? Getting down through the names here now. And Connor Mooney, what's happening? Cool Vibe says, hi Dad. I wonder who that could be. Alison Hudson, what's going on? Maybe Alexis was afraid of getting caught driving under the influence. Well, I don't think there's actually any laws against being on your horse drunk. I think that was actually a topic of a news article within the last 12 months that I read, that a person could actually legally ride their horse down the road intoxicated. And, they could be maybe done under public safety laws, but there's no law really there that says you can't ride your horse while you're drunk. It's only mechanically propelled vehicles. Hey, what's happening, Alan? Alan Robinson out in the audience as well, guys. Check out the NI Canada guys, if you haven't already done so. You find them on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. Alan Robinson saying, any merch available for Christmas, dude? Would love a Martin's World t-shirt or mug. Yes, Alan, I will have a smaller mug available there soon, but up on the Streamlabs / Martin's World 1, you'll find a merch store up there, and there's a lovely, I think it's like a 15-ounce mug, one of the bigger mugs. I got one recently myself, and it's quite a nice mug. I like my big pint kind of size coffee in the morning, so that does the treat well. But I will add a smaller mug there later on, and yes, you'll find this hat up there, and a couple of t-shirts, hoodies, and some other bits and pieces as well. So yes, that's over there on streamlabs.com / Martin's World 1. Or sorry, is it Martin Condon 1 actually? I think it actually comes up as. So yes, you'll see it in the description of the show as well there today. Just follow that link and you'll find all of the merch up there. Also, there's some merch available on martinsworld.ie. Bogwan Son says, what if the horse is on something? Yes, that was certainly the case there for those Irish jockeys. Yeah, I think like the common drug that they use for horses, wasn't it like cocaine and stuff like that they were given to horses, make them run a bit faster and longer. Zagel says, I feel like they couldn't make no riding under the influence laws due to the giggles. Yeah, I can't even read that without laughing actually, like, you know what I mean? No riding under the influence. I think many of us wouldn't be around if that was the case. Right, let's crack on, guys, as we have a couple of headlines to get through for you today, and yeah, we'll get through it there hopefully within the 16 minutes and be done there before 6:30. Let's see. Let's press on. So the first headline I have for you today, guys, comes out of the Irish courts. We're in Tullamore. An occurrence that I was witness to before, where 6 people found themselves in front of a judge, and they all pleaded guilty to the possession of cannabis. And where I found myself in a similar situation is I was up in front of a judge here in Cork, where there was not 1, not 2, but 13 people there for the possession of cannabis. And it was kind of orchestrated to be that way, as I was in previous to that day, and I think there was like 3 of us or 4 of us there on that day. And the judge ordered all of us to return on this day, as he said he had a number of other cannabis cases that he was going to be dealing with on that day. And I showed up on that day, and there was 13 of us there on that day, and it was just like, are you all guilty? Like, literally done us all at the same time. Are you all guilty? Is anybody pleading not guilty is kind of what was asked. And nobody was pleading not guilty. So he literally just told us, look, stand up, guys, separate yourselves. The guys, the people who were working, stand on one side. The guys who were not working, stand on the other side. And it's like, right, I'm going to let you all off without a conviction today. But the people who are not working, you've basically got to pay a €225 donation to the charity box. Donation. I love that donation. To the charity box. And the people who were working, they had to pay €400. Which was funny. It was laughable, that was it. It was a punishment based slightly upon your ability to pay it. The punishment for me at that time, €225. That was more than a week's of my income, which at the time was, I think it was like €198 was the dole at the time. Whereas a person working, potentially, it could vary a lot depending on their job, but €350 could be a person's income, or it could be like €700 or €800, which, it's kind of crazy there that, like, if you're one of these higher earners, that this punishment, the worst thing that would have came with it was the conviction, and you didn't get it. So you're more than happy to hand over $400 if it's like half of your week's wages. You wouldn't really worry. It's like money well spent. But yeah, above there in the Tullamore case anyway, there was 6 individuals up for the possession of cannabis, going by the names of Quiveen Buckley. There was Jason Gavin, there was Maciek Sendrowski, there was Henry Lee, there was Daniel Brown, and there was Josh Evans. So interestingly enough here, like, you know, there's a complete absence of females from this, you know, there's 6 of them. So again, just showing to how males end up unfairly, like, I don't know how would you say, in an unbalanced way, you know, like we always hear arguing for fair wages and stuff like that, but where's the fair application of the laws? Like, you know, if you're a guy, you're fucking like six times more likely there to be searched than a woman, like based on this, you know, and it could be up, you know, it could be how many guys get searched before a woman gets searched, and I'd imagine it's probably more than 10. I'd imagine it's probably more than 20. Do you know? So if you're a guy in Irish society, you're possibly, you know, 20 times more likely to be searched than a woman. But anyway, that's not the point I want to get to in this. It's basically the judge dealing with people here was based not upon their ability to pay a fine or anything, but it was based upon, you know, them giving up cannabis. Or having previous convictions or previous convictions also. So those people who admitted, you know, or said that they were going to give up cannabis, you know, and that they have full-time employment or they're full-time students, you know, and they're doing well in life and they've given up the drugs now, you know, and they're back in the straight and narrow. All of those people got the Probation Act. So that was the case of Donald Farley, Daniel Brown, and who else was there? There was a third person there, Josh Evans. Josh Evans, actually, not Donald Farley. Donald Farley was Josh Evans' solicitor. So they all got the Probation Act. Also, interestingly, was Henry Lee. He got the Probation Act. But then the next guy, Maciek Sendrowski, he was 31 years of age and he had previous convictions under the Misuse of Drugs Act. And he's 31 years of age. And his solicitor here, again, Mr. Farley, Donald Farley, who was also defending Josh. You know, nice day for him there in court, isn't it? Like, he probably represented all 6 of them. He was representing Daniel Brown, actually, as well. And who else was he representing? He was probably representing all 6 of them. So grand day there for him, isn't it? Like, he's cashing in there off of the taxpayers, off the back of this prohibition of cannabis, because all of these people are up there for this. But Maciek, anyway, he had a number of convictions in the past under the Misuse of Drugs Act, and he's currently unemployed here in Ireland. But he's the solicitor, Mr. Donnelly, in this case, or Farley, he described to the judge as how he's the defendant suffered with glaucoma and has uncomfortable eye pressure and was using cannabis to alleviate the discomfort and pain. And he went on to say that his client has stopped using the cannabis now. So like this is an example of like state-sponsored terrorism here, where the authorities are going out and they're terrorizing people to the point to where they're no longer relieving the symptoms of their condition with cannabis. You know, that they're probably going back to maybe less effective or more costly, more dangerous medicines that are available through our pharmacies. And this guy got, you know, terrorized enough that he admitted through his solicitor that he'd stopped using cannabis. Now, whether that be true or not, I don't know, but I've no reason to suspect that this guy is lying, except that, you know, I've seen it happen loads of times before in the court. But he also got the Probation Act. Then there was another guy, Jason Gavin. He had previous convictions for drug offences, and the judge gave him a conviction and also fined him only €40. Which was interesting. €40, that's the smallest fine I've ever really seen being handed out by a judge. Quite possibly a misprint in the court's report, that it should have been maybe €400 that Jason Gavin got. But if it was €40, it's unusually low. But he did get a criminal conviction, which is a lifelong stain on your record. Quiveen Buckley then, which was a very interesting case, and the subject of an article that I published there earlier today on martinsworld.ie over on the 420 News blog. Quiveen Buckley was caught with €5 worth of cannabis. And up in front of this judge, who, with the other 5 individuals, Judge Staines asked if he had stopped taking cannabis. And the solicitor informed the judge that the client hadn't stopped using cannabis. And the judge then went on to point out that people who think that cannabis is harmless, but it's not. It can lead to depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia. And the judge said, I would strongly advise you to stop using it. I also want to tell you that if you get another conviction for drug use, then you will be going straight to prison. And she convicted Quivine with a conviction for personal possession of cannabis, and also fined him €100. It's like that's a backwards one there, really, where you have this judge, Judge Staines, pictured here up on the screen right now, and this lady, is just like so obviously just showing her biased opinion of drug users. Do you know that using cannabis, it causes depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia, and that she has such a hatred that if she catches you again, you're gonna go to prison. She's basically trying to terrorize this person to conform to her, or this society's way of living. This life of abstinence, which is completely inhumane. And yeah, Ashlyn, agreeing with me there, exactly, Martin. It's state terrorism causing trauma, stigma, and harm for profit. Because there is people out there benefiting off of the back of this. You have the rehab services, these drug treatment programs that people go to. There's a lot of money goes from the state into these kind of these places. There's lots of other people who benefit from it. I pointed out, oh, look who somebody's waking up. Oh, oh, my little man. Right, up here and we get him comfy again. Oh, man. Oh, my little man. Oh, he's sliding a little closer to the mic. Oh, look, he's in the camera now, fully view. He loves to go to sleep up on the shoulder. No, my little man, it's all good. You saying hi to everybody on the news? Oh, man, no. Slide interruption. No, I get your doo-doo. Right. No, help you, mister. Oh. No, doesn't really want his dummy, but just wants a little cuddle and a rock. Oh, my little man. No. What? You want to say hello to everybody? He wants to be the star of the show today, I think. Yeah. Tell them all. Say, free the weed. Tell them. Oh. No. Oh, settle up, my man. Oops. No, there I was hoping he would have just stayed conked. Everybody saying hello to you out there, Elijah. Hype is saying hello. You want to say hi to Hype? Oh. Oh. Oh, there he goes. No. And get it all up. Oh, I think we might have a little bit of wind left from earlier. Do we? We have a little bit of wind left from earlier. Causing you pain. Poor little man. Oh. Oh, hey. Oh, no. Let me get you comfy again, my little man. No, there we go. Oh. Sometimes he gets bothered by a bit of trapped gas there. Just having a bit of trouble pushing out an old fart, I'd say. Troublesome old farts for the little man. Oh, there we go now. I think it passed for him. Oh, did it? I spoke too soon, did I? Did I speak too soon, Elijah? I saw. Oh, no. Oh, there we go. No, there we go, little man. Hey. Oh. Yeah, you upset over cannabis prohibition as well, buddy? Yeah, that's how I feel too. Oh. give me 1 second, guys. I'll just sort this little man out. Oh man. No. Oh. And just be 1 second, guys. I just wondering. Good now. Think we can go back on the show? Think we can? Let's try it, will we? Let's see how we get on. I think we're back. Yes, let's get stuck on into it. As I was saying, guys, the people who benefit from this include, people like Helen McEntee and our Garda commissioners, the likes your man Drew Harris and all of them, because they get to spout on their nonsense statistics there at the end of the year as to, the money that they seized, the drugs that they've seized. But you all know, really, like in reality, that these aren't like points of success. These aren't markers for success. Like drugs have never been more available in today's society than what they were before. So that would be the real marker for success, the availability of drugs going down. But prohibition doesn't do that. In fact, it just makes the availability just more available. It just makes them more easily accessible, because you have things like the lack of age limits. Like that's the major one. Like that's the one that should always be focused on, is just that the sale of drugs, it's currently done under the model of prohibition, where there is no age limit, and that that reason alone is the main reason why cannabis prohibition should be ended. We always hear the dangers of cannabis to the younger brain and all of this stuff. Well, if we can put an age limit on it, stop allowing it to be sold by 12-year-olds on Snapchat and Instagram and things like that. I literally went and met a fella there, was it the last year during the lockdown, and just for the crack, and it was like a 16-year-old came down and gave me a 50 bag. I was just kind of like, this dude is half of my age. This is kind of backwards. It just felt wrong. It really did. It just felt incredibly wrong. But yeah, let's see if we can get a bit more comfy here now with this little guy. Yes. I'm trying to get the headphones back on now as well. It's always a bit of a struggle when yes, there we go. Get skillful at doing things one-handed when you have a baby. That's the perks of the job. Yeah, Billy Bonds, Elijah's first podcast rant. Yeah, he's not happy about prohibition. He's just like, come on, sort it out. The prohibition has given Elijah cramps, Hype says that lady that fed the little boy salt's getting some justice dished out to her already, Billy. What is that about? I'm lost on that anyway. Like. Oh no, little man, give me back my wire. Goodbye. Other comments out there. James Clary says it's the wicked face of your one upset Elijah snooze. Dead right, actually. I should take her off before he wakes up and sees her again. Well spotted there, James. The wicked witch Staines scaring the crap out of poor baby Elijah. Shame on you, Judge Staines. Keith Griffin knew what's happening. Says, my 3-year-old thinks it's my 11-month-old. I'm after stealing someone's baby, am I? I'll give him back after the stream, Griffin, don't worry. Others out there, man. Fall says, my weed fellas have some variety of stock these days. It's not surprising how many people are doing all kinds of dangerous yokes. I'll stick to me psychedelics anyways. Yeah, you can't go wrong with, some nice psilocybin mushrooms. Just ensure that the setting is always as required, And there's a really good book called The Psychedelic Explorer's Guide by James Fadiman, I think it is. But it's well worth reading anyway for any psychedelic explorers out there. The Psychedelic Explorer's Guide, really good book. Billy Bond says, if you had done it one-handed, there would have been no baby. Oh, tut, Billy. That baby was conceived with no hands behind the head by him. Like, I don't know that movie American Psycho, James Bateman, is that his name? Fucking looking in the mirror, flexing the muscles. Riding in style, kid. Sorry, less of the dirty talk, come on. Small kids present. Alan Coleman, just smoking on my self-house treks. Nice, guys. Blaze one up for me out there, guys. No smoking in the studio today as we have little smallies present. So yes, blaze one up out there for me. Nice one, guys. Gab ahead, look at our effing head on our guarantee our whole family and family members are drug users. Yeah, quite possibly. The family are probably going to gather over the Christmas and they're probably going to partake in some legal form of drug use there, and feel, morally superior to us illegal drug users because, that's what fucking legal drug users do quite often or not. Don't take the moral high ground. Well, my drug is legal, so I'm better than you. It's like, shame on you, lady. Shame on you. Others out there, hype was about a woman who abused and killed her stepson, getting her comeuppance. Well, it's always good to hear when karma actually works. Man Falls says, yes, Martin, I have that book here next to me. It's my gospel. Good to hear that, Man Falls. It's a great book. It really is. Here's an interesting fact for you guys. I bought that book as part of the Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We had leftover funds at the end of the year, and I decided, it'd be great if we were able to contribute to the knowledge contained within the library of CIT. And we bought a number of books that year. You go over to the CIT SSDP page. Oh, I think somebody might be waking again. If you go over to the CIT SSDP page, you'll see the books that we bought there at the time. But there was a number of them that they rejected from the library, and that included the Psychedelic Explorer's Guide, which was a real crying shame. Like, I went in and I said it to the librarian. I was like, look, this book contains instructions for somebody who might want to further their understanding of the therapeutic uses of psychedelics and the therapeutic environment for psychedelics through that book. They were like, no, it's encouraging illegal drug use, and we can't have that in the library. And I was just like shocked. I was really shocked. I should have launched a campaign of, against them that time, big protests in the college. But, sadly, I just didn't have the bite that I have today, and I should have. I was a lot gentler in my approach back then. But, Jesus, if that was today, they wouldn't know what hit them. Other books that they rejected were Pekel and Tekel, Alexander and Sasha Shulgin's biographies, I believe. And again, the same reason was pretty much instructions on how to make drugs and consume drugs as well, I think, was the reason they gave. Nice one, Keith Griffin's got some amnesia haze and he says he'd blaze one for me. Nice one, Keith. Really appreciate that. Breathing good and deep now, Keith. Tinkle Tink says, how come they don't follow the science when it comes to drugs? Look at Professor Nutt's drug harm rankings. Tinkle Tink, that's the thing I don't get either, especially now with this current pandemic going on. We always hear, follow the science, listen to the professionals, listen to the experts. But meanwhile, then we have this judge coming out like, what sort of medical professional experience has she got? Zero. And meanwhile, she's spouting her fake news. That's literally fake news, and it's repeated then in the media, and some granny will read this, and just like, oh, well, that judge wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. But it's not true. Cannabis does not cause schizophrenia, depression, or anxiety. If it did, we would have fucking 550,000 people in this country who would at one point during the year develop any of these conditions because they've used cannabis, as per the results of that Eurobarometer survey, where 17% of the Irish population have used cannabis within the last 12 months of that survey. It's really infuriating that they don't follow, like they don't take their own advice in other areas. But we have to. They shove it down our fucking throat. All of the current the new restrictions that they're entering as well. I don't really want to get into it too much, but it's just like where's the same following of the recommendations of the experts in other areas. That they lock people down as per the guidance of experts, but they won't legalise and regulate cannabis, or at least decriminalise cannabis as per the recommendations of experts. No, all of a sudden our government are the experts now when it comes to drugs, but when it comes to the vaccines and other things, no, we have to listen to the experts. Annoying, mate. Really is annoying. Yes, so we drive on because something else that's really infuriating, and this came to me via Crown. Oops, I thought I had that in there. Did it? Boom. Second out. Boom, there we go. Yes. This is coming to me via Crown, which is over on Reddit. So check out Crown on Reddit, CRAINN. And one of the users over there, a cannabis consumer, shared his experience where she recently bought 2 ounces of a motor breath, which turned out to be a moldy. And guys, have a look at this. This is shocking stuff. Like, look at that cannabis. Now, like, that is not resin. Like, you look at the white parts there, that is straight, that's just like fluff. That's like fluff that you'd find in your dryer. That's how fluffy that stuff is, like big balls of fluff, but that's not fluff, it's mold. Big fluffy old mold. And this consumer was very unlucky as he bought 2 zips of it. And 2 zips, guys, if you don't know, it's 2 ounces of cannabis. He got a good price though. He got it for $5.50, but then you wonder why. Wonder why you got it for $5.50. Did the dealer know that it was moldy, and as such just wanted to offload it and cover his losses, because the dealer probably got stung as well. So it's a nasty situation, and it's created because of Prohibition. Nobody should be buying this stuff and facing the fears that currently faced by this consumer. As pointed out, he's worried, and that was the headline of it over on Crown, actually. But this guy is actually worried as to whether he actually inhaled some mold. So I'm going to... Damn it, I didn't save that image. But anyway, this guy was asking the question, he rolled up a 1.2 gram fatty of this stuff, and he's worried now, should he call a doctor? Because he's worried in case he's inhaled some of the spores. And it's a very... it's a very valid concern there, because some spores can be incredibly dangerous to have in your lungs, because they could go on to grow inside of there. They could be toxic. Yeah, dead right. That could be toxic, as pointed out there by Kingdoms on TV. I think that's incredibly horrible situation to find yourself in. And this consumer has no consumer rights because of Prohibition. And again, it's another way in which we are discriminated against in society, because if you're a consumer of, say, any other drug like alcohol, tobacco, like you got consumer rights, you got protections in place. They have to have information contained on the packaging, such as the alcohol content and stuff. And they have to ensure, that they don't have any mycotoxins or any kind of dangerous contaminants for the consumers. For cannabis, it's like, no, it's Wild West out there, guys. This stuff is not only being sold by 12-year-olds, but probably being consumed by 12-year-olds. And then we'll be hearing on the media there in a couple of months' time as, a young man dies after consuming cannabis, but it was because he consumed moldy cannabis and the mold grew in his lungs, and the poor fella fucking drowned with mold. Nasty shit, like. So yes, this is coming via the way of Crown. So check out Crown, guys, over on Reddit. Nice one to the user there. Leach Stories for sharing his experience and sharing those pictures there of the cannabis. Guys, be careful out there if you are buying cannabis and if it's claimed to be motor breath, as this user was sold, that's what it was called, a motor breath. Be careful, check it out for mold before you bring it home. And yeah, the bud rot, yeah, that's another name that they use for this, bud rot. It's down to a lot of the time improper drying and curing, where the cannabis was exposed to conditions unfavorable for cannabis drying, but favorable for mold and all of that stuff. So right, guys, that's it for Ireland today, but we do have more news from around the rest of the world as we go to, well, we're still in Ireland actually. The next story is the north of Ireland, above there in the UK, above in County Tyrone, a cannabis factory, as that's their words, not mine. The cannabis factory that was estimated to be worth £115,000 every harvest was discovered in the Coalisland area of County Tyrone. And as of yet, nobody has been arrested in connection with this seizure. But here is the cannabis plants above there. And again, you see in the image here, I believe these are like deep water culture pots. So that's what's being grown here. That's the type of system I believe that they're being used in here. A nice old setup. But it's incredible shame. All of this equipment, all of this cannabis now is going to be destroyed. What a waste, What a fucking waste. So that's above in Coalisland, where the authorities, they searched the premises up there and they discovered does it say how many plants there? No, it doesn't say how many plants were found. They just say that they were worth £115,000 and that's pretty much every harvest. And looking at this, you could be probably safe to say that there's at least 3 harvests could come out of this grow every year, possibly even 4, if they were harvesting every 3 months. But looking at these plants, they probably had a little bit of a longer vegging time. So you would say maybe a harvest every 4 months possibly. So not a bad operation there, you're talking about like close to £500,000 there, just shy of £500,000 every year from this operation. And it's worth the risk. And the authorities putting their lives at risk staying out there because, they could have broken in the store and there could have been a dude in there with a gun and he could have shot someone and killed someone. And meanwhile, if a person out there, for what, in some crazy way managed to consume all of this cannabis, that's still probably not enough to kill him. But we drive on from there, guys, but we stay in the north of Ireland, where in Belfast, there was recently a cannabis grow house busted above there. This was in August of, was it August of this year or last year? But this is a case of Cleinty Pera, who's a Greek man. And he was caught attending to the cannabis plants. And he, when questioned on it in the station, he said that he was tending to them out of fear of the 2 other individuals who had kind of coerced him into working within the premises. He felt like if he didn't do the work or agreed to do the work, that there was going to be violence used against him. And that very likely could be the case. I have no reason not to believe this guy. It's a horrible world out there in the world of prohibition, the underworld. You got some really bad players out there, and that yes, they will engage in violence and intimidation tactics to get people to kind of carry out this work, and you look at the last operation there, when you can be taking in close to £500,000 a year from a property, then why wouldn't you? You go out there and you say to a dude, look, I'm going to give you 15 grand every year to look after this, or 20 grand every year to look after it. It's worth £500,000 to them. I'm going to give you 20 grand every year, but if you leave the gaff, if you tell anybody, I'm going to chop you up. And some of these people probably would chop people up, they probably have chopped people up. So that's coming out of Belfast, where the Greek man, he received a 5-month prison sentence for his part in the operation, where there was thousands of pounds worth of electricity illegally siphoned off. The judge didn't hand down any compensation payment to be made for the stealing of electricity, but he did hand down the 5-month prison sentence. And it's said that the client here, the defendant, Mr. Pera, is going to return to Greece once he's released from prison, as no intentions of re-engaging in criminal activity here in Ireland, or in the north of Ireland anyway, at least. It says also here that there was in total £2,341 worth of electricity stolen from the property. So again, another hit there on, I suppose, taxpayers and the service providers out there, because if cannabis was legal and if people were growing it using lights in indoor infrastructure, then all of that electricity would be paying for, and top of the taxes for that electricity too, So it's a real loss there in more ways than one for the for society at large above there in the north of Ireland. But sticking with the UK, guys, and the next headline is a real head melter, and it's a real wake up call, guys, for the community in the UK. Because this is the next headline that's been doing the rounds there over the last day or two. And it's a headline where Boris Johnson has revealed plans to implement a new 10-year all-out war on drug users. A quote here from Boris Johnson saying, "You've got to be tough on the county lines gangs." And I just get that back up as I was just reading that lower third. Boris Johnson says, "You've got to be tougher on the county lines gangs, and you've got to be tougher on the criminals who are doing it. But, and it's a big but here, but you've also got to make sure that you find those 300,000 people and you help them." And he's referring to 300,000 people who are engaged in what's seen as problematic drug use. And those people need, as what he said, is rehab and rehabilitation. We need to find and catch these people and get them into treatment programs. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to take away their passports. We're going to take away their driver licenses. They're probably going to take away their ability to do jobs and stuff like that in society. Messed up stuff, like some real messed up stuff coming in here. And in reality, all they're ever really doing, they're saying that they want to tackle the drug crime gangs and the drug kingpins within the UK. Well, all they're really doing here now is actually just making it more profitable for them, as when they come down harder on the supply lines and stuff like that. All it really does is actually just put the price of drugs up, or it puts the quality of drugs down. The rate of drug overdoses related to contaminants within drugs, that's going to go through the roof over there in the UK if they do go ahead with this plan, where they're going to be said that the headlines here are some of the points of the program. The campaign is going to be to carry out 6,400 disruptions against the activities of organised criminals, which is an increase of 20% on current operations in the UK. They said they want to expand the use of drug testing when police make arrests in order to direct users towards treatment or other interventions. So again here, just pointing out, they want to provide more resources there for the Justice Department, the justice sector, to carry out these treatments. Because, if you're going to be drug testing every drug user you catch in possession of cannabis, cocaine, or whatever other drug it might be, that's a big expense that the state is going to be taking on, because each one of these tests require expenses. There's resources that are going to be consumed within this. There's probably going to be some private company hired in that's going to be contracted to do all of this work. And it's probably going to turn out to be a buddy of one of these ministers. Maybe a buddy of Boris. They also want to increase the number of police forces who will run new schemes focused on intervening on a wide range of individuals at an early stage, such as attendance at drug awareness courses with criminal sanctions possible for those who continue to use drugs. So there you go. This is a real messed up one. They basically want to give judges power to order a drug testing of anyone serving a community sentence whose offending is related to drug use, with them liable to be resentenced to a prison term if they test positive. Now, guys, keep in mind, some of these drug tests can actually produce false positives as well. A person might have even consumed drugs, especially in the case of cannabis, where, just being in the presence of somebody who's consuming cannabis could trigger a false positive, because you've not consumed any cannabis yourself, but through the second-hand consumption of cannabis, it could find its way into your system, and you then end up in prison, just through your, just simply through your socializing with a person who might be using cannabis. Guys, we really, in the UK anyway, guys, you need to get the F up off your backsides and rise up against this totalitarian approach from the government towards drug users. They're trampling, they're dancing all over your human rights, your right to privacy, Do you know if you get caught with drugs and they regard you as a drug dealer, do you know what they also want to do? They want to use your phone contact list to contact people who you've been engaging in with selling drugs. So if you're a dealer, to find your phone and find messages to people who you've been selling drugs, they're going to contact those people either directly or indirectly to direct them to support services. So they'll send messages, or, if possible, they might also do door-to-door calls to people to kind of say, hey, look, we know this person was selling you drugs, and look, here's a number for a service, go there. Like, guys, this is a major operation that they're kind of outlining they're going to be taking on in the UK over the next 10 years. And guys, you need to get up off your ass and, really rise up against this. And, just don't be hiding behind false idols out there, people like Outlaw, who said, making claims there that they've got these test cases and that cannabis is going to be decriminalised. Guys, he's just disempowering you. You need to get up, you need to rise together, in all of these areas and march against the introduction of this program. Like, this is so fucking counterintuitive. The best available evidence out there suggests that Prohibition has failed. It's an unenforceable policy. No matter what way you approach it, like it's people are going to find a way to get access to these drugs, and the evidence also shows that in order to, if the best way to reduce harms and even reduce the power of organised crime gangs is to regulate the supply of drugs to drug users. Home Secretary, the Priti Patel, and not a pretty lady at all, she says it's clear that the drug use trade is still driving so much crime. We must do more to prevent these ruthless gangs ruining the lives, tearing apart communities and exploiting young people. She says this strategy will help to relentlessly pursue the kingpins behind these county lines supply markets and make our streets safer. But that's not the case, guys. That's not going to be the case at all. There's going to be cops within the ranks there of these police forces, and they're going to be corrupted. They're going to be corrupted by now gangs that are going to be even more powerful because of the increasing of profitability there, but because of these measures. And that's always been the case. Like, drugs have gone up over the years, and the price of drugs have gone up over the years in response to massive seizures and efforts by the authorities. Places like Japan and stuff like that, where they've got some crazy laws around, say, cannabis. Cannabis is crazy price over there. I'd imagine a gram of cannabis is probably a couple of $100 probably. Now I'm just pulling that figure out of my arse. I have no idea how much cannabis is illegally over in Japan, but I'd imagine it's probably a lot. But yeah, this is going to not achieve the desired outcome. And again, guys, I just have to say that the community over there in the UK, you need to get up off your ass and know and act. Rise up against this, form your groups, shout out to Seed Our Future and the other groups there across the UK. You need to get together and rise up against this campaign of the government, because it's dancing all over your human rights, guys, and you should not accept it. Especially, when we think about like this program, this campaign, like it's going to cost like in the hundreds of millions, possibly, over the 10 years, £1 billion plus. And then we have this next headline where a UK family, 1 second now. Boom. Where a family in the UK have been paying more than £1,000 a month for their cannabis medicine to treat their daughter's epilepsy. And a comment from Boisterous Ben's Facebook page states that the government are constantly using the high cost of cannabis as an issue to providing access to patients. And I'll pop this up on screen there just so you can see this. And I'd suggest giving this page a follow as well, guys, if you haven't already done so over there on Facebook. But this is from Boisterous Ben. Ben, who you see here in the picture, suffers with epilepsy and is being given access to Bedrocan's oils, and it's doing wonders for him. He also had access to Epidiolex, which was recently approved for use under the Medicinal Cannabis Access Program. And it was dog shite, really. It was good, but to a point. It was very limited in its ability to reduce the seizures, and its efficacy waned over time. Or reduced in its ability. But as soon as boisterous Ben here was given access to Bedrocan's oils over 3 years ago. His life has been a complete turnaround. You know, he had his first his first seizure-free day, thanks to the Bedrocan oils. And yet there's still people out there to say that, you know, there needs to be more research done on this before access is given. It's like, come here, this has taken too long. Look at this, like years and years of successful use of cannabis medicine, years and years of seizure-free days, thanks to cannabis medicine. And yet they still want more evidence, like, you know, and yeah, like Sue Williams says here, this is beyond comprehension, what's being done to these patients. So get over there, check out Boisterous Ben's page if you'd like. But also there's an old video here linked to a YouTube, and I'm going to just play that here. This features the old UK Minister for Health, Matt Hancock. He got shafted from the job and he got caught shafting somebody who wasn't his missus, or shifting somebody who wasn't his missus, so maybe more than that. But yes, I'll play him here for you.
Griffiths, who are two mothers, whose Joanne's son is... I really want to ask you the questions that both Hannah Deacon, whose son is Alfie, and also Joanne Griffiths, who are two mothers, whose Joanne's son is Ben. He's been having hundreds of seizures. They currently are paying £2,000 a month for medication which they feel should be available on the NHS. Can I play you what Joanne Griffiths said to us that she wanted to tell you this morning about 20 minutes ago? Have a listen.
Matt Hancock stood in front of me in March and said that it would be available in several months' time on the NHS, and that, you know, we could, you know, he understood. He said he understood. He said he knew that our children couldn't wait that long, and we're nearly 12 months on, and we still don't have that prescription.
Did you lie to her?
No, I met her and many other parents whose children benefit from these cannabis-based drugs. I changed the law to allow the cannabis-based drugs to be used in this country. It was incredibly emotional meeting the parents, and I've met many more since. And there was then a report from the National Institute which decides what is paid for on the NHS that came out exactly as she said a few months after our meeting. And that report said that the costs that are being charged by the companies are too high. Since then, I've been working incredibly hard to try to get these drugs available on the NHS.
Can I explain the situation they say they have? They say that they're being told that they are available, and yet they're only prescribed by consultants. And when they go to get those drugs, they're told that they're not being prescribed because people are being told not to give them because there's fears about a lack of testing, and they're being told by their trust they can't prescribe those drugs. Yeah. So there are parents. We've had Joanne on the sofa this morning, whose life is being torn apart by the money she's got to spend. She's got to spend her life fundraising, trying to care for her child at the same time, where she and many others feel they should have access to these drugs through the NHS.
Of course, I totally understand. Look, I've put research money into this to make sure that we get the evidence that on how well these drugs work, because they haven't been used in this country before. Because they were illegal before, I, with Sajid Javid, took the decision to make them legal. So driving that through has been a huge effort. I totally understand the frustration of the parents. We've got to make sure that we keep making progress on this. Now, but it also comes down to the question about getting the drug companies to make them available in the right way. For instance, in the summer, you might remember we had a case with drugs for cystic fibrosis, a drug called Orkambi, which the company were trying to charge too much for. We did a deal eventually and got it available on the NHS. So I'm working very hard on this. There's a whole series of potential uses for these drugs that are based on cannabis that in the past have simply been illegal, and they do show good hope. And so I've been putting research money in. I've been trying to move this forward, but it has moved more slowly than than I'd hoped for a year ago.
That was Joanne's.
But we've got our shoulder to the wheel.
That was Joanne's point. Why did you then stand in front of her and promise her that those drugs would be available? And 12 months down the line, she's still waiting. Her life is still in the same situation it was before.
Well, I talked to her in March about this decision of the National Institute of Clinical Excellence, which is the system we have in this country for deciding what drugs are affordable on the NHS. And I, at the time, was very much hoping that they would decide that these should be available, prescribed, as you say, by a clinician. It's very important that they're prescribed by clinicians and clinicians with an understanding of these drugs, because they're very powerful. That report came out and said there were problems on value for money grounds. And since then, I've been working to try to make this available. And I think that the companies that provide them need to come to the table as well and make sure that we get good value for the NHS money, which is by law what we need to do, and quite right by all patients of the NHS.
Okay.
I'm very happy to meet the parents again. I totally understand the anguish that they face.
Okay, I'm sure they will take you up on that. I know we've taken a lot of your time this morning, but I'm sure you'll appreciate there's plenty to talk to you about. Thank you, Matt Hancock.
1 second now again, guys. Little man has decided he wants to say hello to everybody again. Oh man, up to me. Oh man. Oh. Yes. Martin's World right there. Little man. Oh. But you know, you hear those comments there from the health secretary. Oh, mister, can I just talk to the people at all? Can I? Aren't you insisting talking to him as well? Yeah. You insist on talking to him as well? Oh, I'll have to bring him down to his mammy, who just returned home there a couple of minutes ago. So give us a couple of secs there, guys. Actually, while I go and pass them along, I will pop up this video here, guys, as the reason this headline was actually up, it was due to this Somerset couple who've been paying over the £1,000 for their cannabis medicine to treat their daughter's epilepsy. This couple from Somerset, Emily Howes, she said her daughter Clover was having hundreds of seizures a day before being given cannabis as a medicine. She says that every time she would wake up from a sleep or a nap, she'd have a seizure or more than one seizure. She now she will have without fail 6 days completely seizure free, and then on the 7th day she'll have 24 hours where she might have between 1 and 5 seizures. So that's an amazing turnaround there for a little girl who was having hundreds of seizures a day. They're going to having, you know, maybe like between 1 and 2 a week. That's an incredible testament of the ability of cannabis as a medicine. Oh, you're right, mister. Oh. Somebody's getting comfy again. I slide my chair forward. There we go. Yay. All right, we might be able to hold on to him for another few minutes. But we'll play this video here for you guys of Clover. I'll pop it up on screen there now. 1 second.
At 2.5, Clover is energetic, noisy, and enjoys going to nursery. But there was a time when her parents thought a regular routine might not be possible for her. Clover has a severe form of epilepsy, causing her to have hundreds of seizures a day. But her parents say a cannabis-based treatment has brought it under control.
Every time she woke up from a sleep or a nap, she'd have some seizure or more than one seizure. And now she'll have, without fail, she'll have 6 days completely seizure-free, and then on the 7th day she'll have 24 hours where she might have between 1 and 5 seizures.
You know, the less seizures she was having was making family life a million times better.
But the treatment comes with a hefty price tag. Emily and Spencer are spending almost £1,000 a month. The treatment can be accessed on the NHS, but since regulations changed, only 3 prescriptions have been issued. Clover's parents have joined with other families to try to push for better access, last month taking their campaign to Downing Street.
Really, we're calling on the government in the short term, at least, to cover the costs of these private prescriptions for families. But also in the long term to prioritise this research and make sure that we can get some quality clinical data as soon as possible.
When I first spoke to Clover's parents a year ago, I asked the government for a response to their concerns. A year on, they say their position hasn't changed and they stand by their original statement. It reads, "We sympathise with patients dealing with challenging conditions, and the decision on whether to prescribe medicinal cannabis is rightly one for clinicians to make. More evidence is needed to routinely prescribe and fund other treatments on the NHS, and we continue to back further research and look at how to minimise the cost of these medicines." For Clover's parents, the transformation in their daughter as a result of the medication is invaluable. But they and other families question whether the cost in the long term is sustainable or fair. Adam Grierson, ITV News.
Yes, got it. Probably making some funny faces there trying to get on them set of headphones. Right, just getting a bit closer to the microphone there now, just so, yes, sorted. Excellent. Back in action. So guys, like, really annoying thing there about those videos, when you combine that with the story just before it, Boris Johnson is able to go in and introduce this 10-year plan now where they're going to have an all-out war on drug users, and it's at a massive cost for the state. Like, where was the research done for that project, to kind of say, yeah, this is an effective way, this is good use of public money. That there is no research. There's not. And where was the kind of the problems there were coming up with the money for that program? There was no problems. But then you look at the patients who need access to cannabis, it's like, no, we need more research and we need more money, or we need cheaper products. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, they never asked for the research around Prohibition. Like, if you look for the research around Prohibition, as I just previously stated, it all points the Prohibition cannot be enforced. It's an ideological approach to drugs. It's a fantasy. It's a complete and utter fantasy. But it's just a real shame that the government are willing to spend hundreds of millions of pounds in enforcing failed policies around drugs, and they're not willing to spend, even half of that to providing safe and effective cannabis treatments for patients with seriously life-limiting conditions such as refractory epilepsy. Like, it's a real shame, like, that the government behave in such a way. It's just like they're there to protect us, to serve us, and they're doing the complete opposite. So again, guys, over in the UK, you really need to get up in arms and sort this, not in arms, like, peacefully, get up together, hand in hand, and peacefully, protest against the introduction of this campaign, and to support, the patients out there as well, of which there are many. That family that you just seen there, or those two families that you just seen, they're one of many. They're one of many. Shout out to Karen Gray, who's been a guest in the past. Her son Murray, just another one of these kids who benefits amazingly from cannabis, but the state won't provide the cannabis for him. His mother Karen is having to go out there and fundraise from the community constantly to provide this medicine to Murray, which sees him being seizure free also. What's going on out in the comments? Doggo has epilepsy too, Hype, I feel ya. Oh man, sorry to hear about that. Hype says I had to pay 40p a tablet for my dog's epilepsy medicine. Hype says I like the interview when they kept interrupting him talking to call him out in his lies, of which there are many. There were many. Like, there's a video up there of that guy Matt Hancock making those promises to Hannah Deacon that the medicine would be available, and it's not. It's still not available today under the NHS. I believe that promise was made maybe 2016, 2017. A number of mothers kind of confronted Matt Hancock at the time. Maybe it was about 2018 actually. I'm not too sure how long ago it was. It wasn't too long ago. And when they confronted him, he kind of made them all sorts of promises, but never really followed through on them. Because why? He's a scumbag. Low-life scumbag like the rest of the politicians who continue to enforce this prohibition. James Clary says, how much dosh does the NHS just after forking out for dodgy new medicines without hesitation? No bother buying all France's midazolam either. Yep, there you go, James. there you fucking go. Like there's only money issues when they want when it's convenient for them, you know. Must be very tough, brave family, says Kingdoms on TV. Yeah, it is. I can only imagine how tough it must be. You know, not only having an incredibly sick child, you know, where the next seizure could take that child's life, but also having to campaign and fundraise for the medicine that's reducing those seizures that could snuff out your child's life. Tough, yeah. Tough is an understatement, really. Yeah, it's hard to watch the fish. Fits 100%. It is shouting in a bucket, and apologies. I probably should have got maybe a disclaimer up there or a bit of a warning up there, as to that. Kingdoms on TV says research in alcohol which kills millions every year. Weed equals history of man's deaths 0. Yep, that's so true, man. That the research on alcohol shows that it's not good for us, but we don't ban it. But when it comes to cannabis, no, more research is needed. Billy Bond says, I wake up every day wondering if my girlfriend's son's epilepsy has killed him. The government don't give an F. Cannabis is the only thing keeping him as seizure-free as possible. Fuck the law. Yeah, no, fuck the law. That's what Billy says. I'm not even going to censor that one, Billy, because yes, man, fuck the law. Like any law that sees you being denied access or a child being denied access to a medicine that's potentially going to keep them alive for a lot longer than what they would be without it, then yes, fuck the law. I would be breaking any, like if this little guy here, you know, if there was a law that was between me and his health, or like God damn guarantee I'm gonna fuck that law up, left way, sideways, every way. You know what I mean? I'm gonna smash it, because there'll be no law come between me and my son's health. Hype says, yeah, I was almost always in the midst of the middle of the other night too. Used to wake up at the slightest movement all the time. Manfall says, ahoo, fuck the law. And Lee says, agreed also, fuck the law. Yeah, a lot of people agreeing, like, fuck the law, like, you know, and that shouldn't be the case, like, you know what I mean, guys, because laws are good, and they're supposed to be good, they're supposed to protect us, they're supposed to punish people who will wrong us, but when it comes to cannabis, like, the people who are wronging us are the people who are punishing us, which is, that's completely counter to what the laws are supposed to be doing in the first place. So, like, as long as laws keep prohibition in place, then yes, fuck the law. Surprise mofo, what's going on? He says, hey Martin, seen you the other day in Blackpool and saluted ya. Hope you're keeping well. What's happening? Yeah, I love it when, like, well, I don't love it, it's kind of weird actually, but it's funny. I'd be with my daughter sometimes as well when this happens, but people will just randomly be like, oh, right Martin, what's happening? Watch our show and stuff like that. And it's kind of weird. I don't know how to react to it. I'm just kind of like smile back and be like, oh yeah, nice one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Like it's great. But it is kind of funny. My kids get a good laugh out of it though. My Alexis to be always like, Dad, you're famous. Everybody knows you. But it's funny enough. All right. We parked up in traffic there the other day on McCurtain Street. And like a van pulls up next to us and starts beeping. I'm like, what's going on here? So I put down my window and there's like two lads in the front of the van and they're like, all right, man, bye. Love the show, bye. Free the weed, bye, free the weed. The lights went green then, thank God. Zagel says, it's strange someone can fill a Ford F-150 flatbed full of cans and spirits and no one will bat an eye. Someone wants cannabis for medicine and they're criminals and mad. Yep, it is mad. Guru Ganja Goat says, the only law should be common sense. Yeah, unfortunately, Guru, man, common sense is all not that common, man. So let's drive on, guys, as we get out of the negative stuff and we go into some more positive news and more beneficial news for the community out there as well. The next headline, guys, is I want to pay attention to, I suppose, really, is if you've any legal cases coming up. There was a recently published study. It was a meta-analysis of a number of different papers, but still nonetheless the conclusion that they reached was a rather supportive one for our campaign anyway. This is coming out of Australia, and it's the Cannabis Science News segment of the show, where researchers found that blood and or saliva THC levels were found to be poor signs of a driving impairment. They also pointed out that THC-related biomarkers were associated with impairment in occasional users. And sorry, I'm just going to pop that back up. Yes, THC-related biomarkers were associated with impairment in occasional cannabis users. However, most of these biomarkers' performance relationships were weak in strength. And then when you go over to regular cannabis users, those relationships get even weaker. So basically what they found in this study is what we all pretty much well know out there, is that the metabolism of cannabis is different to alcohol, and therefore we should not be treating cannabis in the same way in which we treat alcohol intoxication. We basically state that like certain levels of alcohol in your body will produce a certain effect, and that holds true for the most part for people. But when it comes to cannabis, that's not true at all. Like you could have a person who's never smoked cannabis at all before, and they smoke some cannabis for the first time. That person is not going to be in a condition to drive a car. You have a person like myself. I consume cannabis regularly, and if I was to wake up in the morning and have a cup of coffee and maybe an old hoot of cannabis with my coffee, I'm well fit to drive after that. Like my reaction, like all of that stuff, it's all perfectly in line with what a driver is expected to be able to do. Whereas, that first time user, if they had a smoke with their coffee in the morning, they'd be up in all sorts of heaps. So that's pretty much the finding of this study, is that basically blood and saliva levels are not a good indicator as to a person's impairment. But we already noticed that the law already knows this, and we have what's regarded as a no tolerance limit. So basically, we've if you've any level of cannabis detected in your system, they're going to come down hard on you. And that is true, based upon the level that they've set. It's 1 microgram of cannabis per milliliter of blood, which is minuscule. It's a tiny, tiny amount. As I say, you could have that amount easily if you were just in a room with a person and they were there for secondhand smoke. He's alright, though. Want them? Alright, Elijah's getting stolen away from the show, guys. Everybody say bye to Elijah. Bye bye, Milton Man. Oh, there we go. Bye bye. Elijah has left the building. But yeah, sorry, that's my train of thought. Let's get back to the comments there. As Surprise Mofo says, I have a court case Wednesday for a $5 worth of weed. Oh, what a joke. Keep us updated on how that goes, Surprise Mofo. I'd be interested to hear as to how the judge treats you for your $5 worth. What's the crack with yourself? Have you got previous? What's your, what's the story with you? Have you got previous? Yeah, that's probably the most important question to ask. If you don't have previous, then just expect that donation to the charity box. And even if you do have previous, you could still expect that donation to the charity box. Unless you go in like the other dude and say like, no, I'm not giving her up. Which is kind of what Quiveen did. He admitted that he wasn't giving her up. Just looking through the comments there now. Can only hope eyes will be open sooner rather than later, says Zaggles. Yes, definitely. Guru Ganja Goat says, cheers Kingdom. But like Martin said, common sense isn't that common. It's a pity. It is indeed. And Guru Ganja Goat's also saying, I drive safer stoned. I drive faster, but I'm not. Yes. And at least when you're driving stoned, anyway, Guru Ganja Goat, you can be sure you're probably not going to be drunk, which is also a situation that could occur if you're not stoned. Kingdoms on TV says, wait till you see some of the studies coming out that say you focus more when driving. Yeah. Surprise Mofo says, looks like I'm fucked. Hopefully not, Surprise Mofo. Hopefully not, dude. Again, hold the head up high, dude. If you want to go in there and, take a leaf out of my book, and just stand up for your rights, man, by all means, you'll have my full support there as well. Whatever direction you take in this, man, you got my full support. Get in touch if you want, before or after the case, drop me a message. Happy to take a call there as well, man, if you've got any questions, or, if you just want to chat about it. Do let me know. You get me there via any of my social medias. Send me a message, and happy to chat, man. Others, Guru Ganja God, it's a money racket, it is indeed. And Kingsman TV says some strains will make you focus more and be creative more, and different strains are like different personalities. Yeah, that's it. Like, some strains can make you sleepy, but when you're sleepy, you're probably not going to go driving, most likely. But yeah, let's drive on and have a look at some other headlines. We have, I believe, 3 more headlines to get through, and these are rather positive ones. Again, I would regard that headline as being a positive one, and the next one being a positive one also. This is under Stein's news segment, where the effects of recreational cannabis legalization on clearance rates for violent crimes has had very positive findings. And this is evidence coming out of Oregon, where results suggest that cannabis legalization has a positive effect on the clearance of violent crimes. So that's a very positive headline there for the idea of cannabis legalization. And again, it backs up what we've been saying all along, that if you were to legalize and regulate cannabis use, then you basically free up so much police time, and they can then go and focus on other crimes. Here is a graph there from that study. I'll pop it up on screen, and this is from another study which also supported the findings of this study. This was a study that was done earlier, and it was in the region of Colorado and Washington. And what you see here is a graph of arrests per 100,000 people for drugs. Okay, these are drug arrests, specifically drug arrests per 100,000 people. And on one line you have Colorado, on another line you have Washington. And interestingly here, you see Colorado, it was above all other states in the Pacific Census region going back in 2004. And over that period, a lot happened in Colorado, and it was in 2012. 2012 is where you notice the most significant drop off there on the number of drug arrests per 100,000 people. And there was a trend, there was an average trend there. You can kind of see a bit of a downward trend from 2008 onwards, but that trend in no way compares to the drop off that happened in 2012 in Colorado and Washington, when cannabis was legalized in the later segment of that year. You see the number in 2013, it's almost bottomed out. You've gone from what would it have been in 2012, you would have had about close to 200 people per 100,000 population in Colorado. That dropped down to just over 100 people, or under 100 people per 100,000 in 2013 after legalization. So you're talking over a 50% drop off in numbers of people arrested for drugs. Just think about it logically. Think about it. If there's 50% less arrests for drugs, that means those cops that were engaged in those arrests the year previous, they're now free to go after real criminals, to actually solve real crimes with real victims. The same could be seen in Washington. When you go to 2011, you had 150 arrests per 100,000 people, and then you fast forward 2 years later, and you had a massive again drop off of over 50% again, where it's down to under 50 people per 100,000 in 2013. It's just like, guys, if you want any more evidence to support the undoing of prohibition, it's like, here, somebody get this to Boris Johnson, because that guy is clearly a fucking clown. But there you go, ending of cannabis prohibition drastically reduces the number of drug arrests per 100,000 people in Colorado and Washington, and thereby freeing up police resources to tackle crimes with actual victims, not ideologically driven laws, or moral driven laws such as cannabis prohibition. So yes, good news there from Oregon, and we drive on as we've got more good news, but it's got a bit of a bad news mixed in with it. This is coming from San Francisco, where in San Francisco, the government have decided there to suspend the tax on cannabis, which was to begin later on next month. In January 2022, the introduction of a cannabis tax in San Francisco was planned, but that has now been put back, and that's following a spate of burglaries over there, where over $5 million worth of products have been robbed. This is a state of looting that kicked off over there. It's kind of following on from the Kyle, at least it just happened after the Kyle Rittenhouse case, where these looters went out there. Some more organised than others, and they carried out loads of burglaries right across the state. Under, do I have an image here? I think I have a map here showing all of the burglaries that happened, do I? No, it's gone. Never mind. But many burglaries. I do have a video there for you. Actually, I do have the map there as well. Pop up the map there now for you. So you see here on this map, I don't know if you can see it clearly, make it a little bigger. California is hit with multiple robberies, and you can see these robberies are spanning from like mid-December to early December, and they're large robberies. Some of them are very organised, with gangs descending on places like Apple stores. They descended on a Louis Vuitton store, but also interestingly, they're hitting cannabis stores too. And store owners are not happy with the response to the robberies in their stores, especially when you compare it to the response on other stores. And that's a video I'll get to there in a little bit. But first I want to play a video which features a guy who opened up the first social equity cannabis store in San Francisco. I'm going to pop him up on screen here. His name is Mr. Blunts. Guys, I'm not joking. The guy's surname is actually Blunt. I'll get him up on screen here now. This is the ribbon cutting for Blunts and More. Again, you know, the guy's surname is actually Blunt. And his store is called Blunts and More. So I love that. Here they are at a ribbon cutting ceremony at the store. And a beautiful store, you know, and this is the first social equity store there within the state. But this is a picture of the store then a little bit afterwards, after it was burgled. Where's it gone? Boom, there we go. This is a picture of it after it was burgled, left in an awful condition. So, like, that was only recently happened. Again, you know, this is a social equity club or store, meaning the owner, you know, was given special compensation to be able to set up his store because he's from a community that was especially displaced by the war on fucking drugs or the prohibition of cannabis. So yeah, I went from that to that. You know, look at that lovely store, smashed up. Boys came in and smashed the place up and took a load of products out of there. I'll pop it up on screen there now, the video, and features, what's his name here?
Some cannabis businesses were also
Tareen Blunt, I think it is.
Of course, Maureen Kelly got surveillance video from an Oakland marijuana dispensary that was looted early Sunday morning. It's a story you'll see
I'm gonna go get my bong.
on Cron 4.
The owner of Oakland's Blunts and More dispensary near the Oakland Coliseum estimates that over a dozen burglars broke into his pot shop early Sunday morning. You can see them looting the display cases here in this video. It started around 5 a.m. with a sideshow at 66th Avenue and Coliseum Way. He says he has private security who called the incident in to police.
About 45 minutes in, I guess they decided since police haven't came yet, we're gonna hop over the fence and go into Blunts and More.
Once the burglars started scaling the fence, his security arrived 7 minutes later to chase them off. Alfonso Blunt, who goes by the nickname Tucky, says he is still trying to assess how much was taken, but he believes most of the product was dropped as the burglars ran away. It's a far cry from what happened to his business back in 2020.
Yep. So there you seen that burglary happen, and you see the response to the cops. Like, it wasn't the greatest. But I will pop up another video here, Avi, which shows an even more pathetic response there from the cops at another store.
So here you see one of the suspects coming
Oh,
out
it
of
won't
our
let me
business
full screen
holding
this
2
one.
bags of product.
Surveillance cameras capture a burglary taking place at Bassa, the cannabis dispensary on Grove Street owned by Anissa Lazre's father.
I was angry when I had seen the footage.
This burglary is upsetting enough, but this is the 5th burglary at their business, and Anissa says it's the police response, or lack thereof, that angers them even more.
I was like, why aren't people responding? Why aren't the police working hard to keep our business safe, to keep our streets safe, to deter or intervene when a crime is in progress?
Take a look. November 16th, 5:37 a.m. You see the first suspect exit the dispensary, a bag in hand, then get into the suspected getaway car. About 2 minutes later, another suspect runs out of the building.
If you look over here, that's the first police vehicle that arrives.
Within 10 seconds, you see on the right, a police car uses its spotlight, likely to alert the suspects that they see them. It seems the suspects get nervous, dropping stolen products on the ground before scrambling into the car. At this point, a second police car is in view, but no officers outside of them. Seconds
cops are
later,
just
the
sitting
last
there looking at
suspect
these
runs
dudes.
out of the dispensary, and as the getaway
Literally
car
watching
makes
this
a
guy run out,
turn
like.
before getting away. Anissa says after the suspects drive away is the first time we see a police officer outside of their patrol vehicle, and the officer doesn't appear to move with any urgency. A crime report was made, but no arrests.
We feel that we are very close with the community and that we care, so it was sad to not see that care reciprocated when we were in a time of need.
This latest burglary happened just days before the recent retail theft at Louis Vuitton in Union Square, in which officers are seen using force to arrest
Look at the
suspects.
difference.
That stung.
Alazre says small businesses like theirs need the same police urgency and response.
We should see that kind of perseverance and hard work, especially in our neighborhoods, in our communities, where these people have been, like I said, the anchors of San Francisco.
Alazre says the suspects got away with thousands of dollars worth of products. In the meantime, we did hear from the San Francisco Police Department. They say they have reached out to the Alazre family to facilitate a complaint to the Department of Police Accountability. They say an investigation into the incident and the department response is now underway. In San Francisco, Audrey Assistio, NBC Bay Area.
Boom. So you see that there, like the pathetic response by the cops to the robbery in that cannabis store. Like, literally strolling, he might as well have had his hands in his pockets. Like, when the cops arrived, you think that they would actually want to catch the criminals, and when they arrived, they would just pull right up outside the store and then put their spotlights on, you know, or when they have the spotlights on and they seen that there was actual criminal activity going on, and move in. But no, they literally just sat there, watched the guys like load up the car, watch another one run out of the store and load up the car, and then pull a 3-point turn and pull away and drive away the other way. And then the cops decides to stroll into the scene. But meanwhile, like when it's on the Louis Vuitton store above there in San Francisco, they show up with the batons, man. They almost bring down the riot squad, I'd say, smashing up people's cars, pulling them out of cars and stuff like that. Majorly different response there between the two, and you have to wonder, you know, why is that? Like the people in those stores, like they deserve protection. The cannabis stores, they deserve protection just as much as the Louis Vuitton store and the Apple stores and the likes of them. Backwards, like. Let's go, Brandon. Yes, Kingdoms on TV says there are groups going around at the moment in the States. I think LA are driving up in a lot of cars to start looting stores and drive off, no trouble. Happening every week now. Yeah, you see some of those videos there. Literally dudes just coming in, groups of them, smash and grab, come in, it's all done and dusted within like 10-15 minutes. Just quick snatch and grab and run. Mad stuff though, mad stuff. Paul F. says, cops rob everyone here, big deal. Some Americans got 10 years for a joint. Messed up. Surprise Mofo says, the bong is playing hide and seek. Kingdoms on TV says, gotta pay for the judge's lunch and the personal assistant's cupcakes. Hopefully it's nothing bigger, so to speak, at Surprise Mofo. It's coming in from Kingdoms on TV. Yes, happened to me, and I've been drinking since. Sorry about that, Guru. Says my dad got done for 3 ounces. He hasn't touched alcohol in 30 years, but he's been drinking now since. Or no, Guru's been drinking. Is your dad drinking as well, Guru? Hopefully not, dude. 30 years off the sauce, man. He's should be continuing on that one. Did you get your hair cut or something, Martin? I did not. No. This has got to be all that stuff. A lot of hair under there, way. You're just jealous of my hat, John. You just wanted me to take off my hat, by, didn't you? You're just like, I want that hat. Get him to take it off. Paul Effick says, rich people having all the weed trade. No wonder if the tax pays to persecute you. Let's get to the final headline then today, guys. The final headline, again, coming out of America. Where it is finds, this is another survey that was done that found recreational cannabis legalization increases employment in counties with dispensaries. And this is according actually to a recent publication in the IZA Journal of Labour Economics. So this was a very positive finding again, that the legalization of cannabis, especially in counties that introduce or allow the setting up of cannabis dispensaries, that it has a very positive effect on job creation. And this is only obvious, like, you know, you allow an industry to be created, you're going to create jobs as a result of that. But there was also other findings there that cannabis legalization, it did not affect people's ability to work. An actual fact, it was found that what was the word that they used there now for employee productivity went up. Employee productivity during the period of legalization actually went up. So very positive findings there in states where cannabis has been legalized. Not only does it create jobs, but you know, the productivity of workers tends to go up in those states, possibly because, you know, they're not living in fear of the authorities any longer, and they're able to enjoy their cannabis freely, you know, and engage in their social life freely, and therefore be happier turning up to work on a Monday because they actually got to do what they wanted to do at the weekend without being discriminated against but by society, you know. Probably a knock-on effect there, ending this stigma. It allows people to be more productive because they're going to be less in the gutter, you know, in terms of their feelings about life and how society views them. So yes, cannabis legalization, you know, not only creates jobs, but it improves worker productivity. And in another survey study's been done, it improves the cops' abilities to solve or clear violent crimes. So good news there for cannabis legalization right across the board. Also, you know, with the study there on driving, again, you know, with cannabis legalization, there will be the introduction then of better ways in which to determine whether a person is impaired beyond the point where it's safe for them to drive. That will come as well with cannabis legalization, much like it is in Mexico. You know, shout out to the Darren White, ex-sheriff Darren White, who's running, what's the name of his cannabis company again? I can't remember the name of his cannabis company, but he's over there in Mexico, and when he was on the podcast with me, he was telling me how the Mexican government over there, you know, the local government, they're looking at ways of introducing sobriety tests and determining limits, safe driving limits for cannabis over there. But yes, it seems like sobriety tests must and should play a part in determining a person's ability or their level of impairment due to cannabis. So yes, great news there right across the board. Like, well, what more evidence do you need to end this fucking prohibition? Like, it's all right there. It's all right there. Just do it right. Just end it. Oh, darn. Do you know who I forgot to include in today's news? Did I forget to include it? I believe I did. Malta. Malta are set to... yes, I did forget to include it. Malta are set to legalise cannabis, guys, in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks, guys. Within the next 2 weeks, Malta could effectively have legal cannabis over there. Basically, it's not legal cannabis per se. There still remains some punishments. Like, you're not actually even allowed to buy cannabis under their legalization. But in Malta, the government are set to have the third and final vote on a bill which will allow the growing of cannabis and the setting up of cannabis social clubs. So if you're a citizen over there in Malta, if you're living in Malta, you will be allowed to grow 4 cannabis plants in your home. You will be allowed to store up to 50 grams of cannabis in your home. And you will be allowed to set up a social club with up to 50 members. And you can grow 4 plants for each member of that club also. So this looks set to be approved within the next 2 weeks. And once it's approved, then it will be put into a law. And that will effectively make Malta the first country in Europe to pass a legislation legalising the growing, possession and consumption of cannabis. So well done, Malta, if you can achieve this. You know, there's one final hurdle to get over there now in the coming days with the third and final vote on this bill. There is issues still to be drawn out in this. I hope they remove that 50 gram limit for the home, or at least increase it to like 5 kilos or something. 50 grams is an incredibly tiny amount of cannabis, like to be allowed, especially when you're allowed to grow 4 plants. Like if you're allowed to grow 4 plants, you'd get that off of fucking one of them. Like, so there's a few issues there with Malta, but they do look set to be the first country within Europe to legalise the growing of cannabis and to legalise the setting up of cannabis social clubs. Again, you're not allowed to... Pure Life, nice one, Barry, there. That's the name of Darren White's cannabis company over there in Mexico. I see that. Nice one. But yeah, they'll be allowed to set up cannabis social clubs in Malta if they pass this legislation. But people won't be allowed to buy cannabis. They'll be able to buy memberships at the club. They'll be able to pay for the upkeep of the club, you know, the growing of the cannabis, but they can't buy any cannabis under this proposed bill in Malta. So yes, that is it for today's 420 news. So nice one, all done. So let's get back to the comments and see what people think out there. Yes, I see John Finnegan says, let's go Malta. Baby steps, Martin. Yeah, baby steps, John. You know, I welcome these changes. Although I will be, you know, critical of them as well, but I do welcome them. You know, change is needed, and yes, baby steps are welcome. But you know, I'm not a baby, nor are you, John. Neither is our society. Surely we can be adults about cannabis and take adult steps. Just a suggestion. Guru Ganji Goat says Malta is progressive, great for cryptos too. Yeah, that's right. I was over there at a cannabis conference actually last year, and the cannabis conference was actually partnered with a crypto conference as well. As the cannabis conference ended, the crypto conference began, and there a lot of Israeli investors over there, a lot of big money over there as well at the time. It was an interesting gathering. But yeah, Malta is definitely progressive is one word. I would say possibly corrupt is another word. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. We won't say much more. Hype also getting a link in there to the Streamlabs merch. Nice one for that, Hype. Much appreciated. The tax on dispensaries is discussing that needs to change also. Yeah, it definitely does. And Daniel Crowley was asking, where can I buy one of them hats? And Hype giving a link there in the comments. So hopefully you caught that there, Daniel. Streamlabs.com/MartinCondon1/merch. Daniel Crowley saying, my mum and dad got married in Malta years ago. It's a beautiful spot actually, Malta. It's very nice in fairness. But yeah, definitely there seemed to be some level of corruption over there anyway. But like, you know, we're in Ireland, like, you know, there's like, oh yeah, it would feel like home, wouldn't it? Hype says we had a Maltese teacher called Mr. Zoltan. Around the time Dude Where's My Car came out. Yes, he got tortured. As to be expected, you know what I mean? Like, that was a great movie as well, Dude Where's My Car. Manton Fall says, one baby step for Malta, one adult step for stoner kind. And an old Bob Ross emoji there as well. Legend. Nice one, Manton Falls. John Finnegan says, that new hat has changed you by. Sorry, should I take it off? Power's gone to me head. Zaggles responding there to Kingdoms TV says, honestly though, having that job made me want to be a head grower, reading some books and doing a lot of learning. Nice. Nothing wrong with a bit of learning. What job was that? What did I miss there earlier, Zaggles? Oh, he was in BC out in Vancouver. Best job he ever had. Nice. That sounds cool. I've heard of a few people come back from there as well, and they spoke very highly of the industry over there and being able to work with it. Like, you know, especially when you come from an era of model of prohibition, you know, from Ireland. Of course, you're just going to be blown away by what you see over there then. But definitely just from commentators over there on the ground, it's like, yeah, there's still big problems with Canada's system. But still, yeah, I'd imagine it's amazing to be over there walking in amongst like a facility where there's like just as far as the eye can see in cannabis plants like that. That must be, you know, a mind-blowing experience. From over here in Ireland, like, you know, the boys come out with guns blazing for the same thing, like, you know, and you know, you're Pablo Escobar then. Mad, like how backwards we are here. Paul left with cannabis legalization. Some smokers would be the best police, and sometimes a person might relax when being questioned. So true, so fucking true, man. The workforce out there within the, you know, the authorities, it's been robbed of some incredibly good workers, i.e. cannabis consumers. You know, you look at the articles that came out there with the FBI and stuff like that. They were having big issues trying to get like hackers in to work with them, because all of the hackers they were finding were actually cannabis consumers. And if you're a cannabis consumer, sorry, that excludes you from working with the likes of the FBI and the CIA and the DEA then of course as well. Which again, you know, that's cutting them off from a big size of the workforce over there, because you'd imagine a lot of techies probably like to smoke a bit of doobie, because, you know, they probably like they're probably gamers. You know, a lot of the computer people are gamers, and, you know, gamers tend to be consumers of the herb. Speaking of consumers of the herb, time to pack another ball. 8 minutes to go to the next 420. Yes. Yeah, Zygel says, was working in a dispensary, and yeah, some issues with legalization. Interesting, Zygel. So the dispensary, I can imagine that would have been quite an experience, you know, just being in there with all of the cannabis. Or like, what was your favourite part of the job, if you don't mind me asking? Kingdoms on TV. Plant knowledge is a deep subject. I love it and have a thirst for knowledge in the subject. As Eagles, you remind me a bit of myself. All the best to you and hope you do well in what you choose. Guys, the plant knowledge is a deep bottomless pit. It's not only deep, it's bottomless. Because you can just go down so many bloody pathways, like it's just endless. There's not enough time on this earth to gain all of the knowledge that's out there to be gained from the plant kingdom. Like it's absolutely mind-bending, you know, what people have figured out over the years and how they figured it out. Like, you know, just the combination of some herbs, you know, just the creation of say the ayahuasca beverage, like that's amazing that they were able to figure this out at a time when they'd access to little or no science, I suppose. And it was all just by kind of trial and error. I suppose that was the science of the day, just trial and error. Combine this and this, let's see what happens. Now they say that the plants told them, like, but but yeah, my 4 years of herbal science, it was an incredible eye opener on the subject of the plant kingdom, the medicines and the nutrients contained within, and I could have done another 40 years and still be nowhere near complete. Let's blaze one up. This one goes out to the plant kingdom, huh? Little civil disobedience for the plant kingdom, and let's free one of its most beneficial members, the cannabis plant. So this is a little civil disobedience for the cannabis plant. Nice one to everybody who blazed up for me earlier when I couldn't. It's good to have a community out there who's got your back. And that's what we need, and that's what I set out to achieve here with this show, is to create this community, which I have, you know, even right now out there, we've got over 30 of you tuning in. Each and one of you guys are part of a wonderful community of cannabis consumers. And even if you're watching and you're not a consumer, you're a part of a wonderful community of people who support, the human rights side of this, the freedom for the person to be able to choose to consume cannabis or not. So welcome and thanks for being part of our community. And I look forward to meeting more of you as time goes by. Kingdoms TV says, you take it first, I will record the evidence. Others out there, Paul Lefwick, some cannabis smokers at best, mechanics, drivers and media, or medics. Yeah, no, that's so true. I was being treated by one of the medics after I had a seizure there a couple of months ago, and he informed me that he was a cannabis consumer. It was funny enough. He asked me, he was just like, oh yeah, do you use cannabis for your seizures? Funny enough, our conversation. Paul Lefwick, Victor Schorenberg has lost plants and trees knowledge. Nice one for that, Paul. Manball Foils. Feck, smoke, but alas, my bag is devoid and depleted. Oh no, I hope that's a problem that the universe solves for you very soon, Man Foils. The universe is works in weird and wonderful ways. Billy Bonds, a few of my friends are fully trained herbalists. Nice, yeah, I know a few of those myself. But unfortunately, none of them are very big supporters of the cannabis plant. All of them have been brainwashed into the idea that this is a dangerous plant and that, there's more wonderful plants out there, to kind of quote one of these herbalists, like chamomile, John, that's what she pointed to. And it was just kind of like, you're going to compare cannabis to chamomile? You're going to say that chamomile is better than cannabis? I'm just like, show me the kids out there who chamomile has stopped their seizures. Fuck you. Seriously, that was a conversation with a herbalist there one day in CIT. She came in to give a talk to us. That was a herbalist by the name of Claire Dillis. She's actively still engaged in her work above there in Galway, I think. She ran a talk on CBD then, funnily enough, a couple of maybe years later, 2 or 3 years later, when it became more of a trendy kind of a thing. But meanwhile, when she came down to talk to us as budding herbalists, pardon the pun, I asked her about cannabis and she didn't want to talk about it at all. She was like, no, it's too controversial a plant. There's much better plants we can talk about, like chamomile. So yeah. I don't know, is that your case, Billy Bonds? Are the herbalists more supportive of cannabis from where you are? John Finnegan says, make sure you pack a bowl for me, Marty. No pressure, just make sure it's a good one. Not a bother, John. I'll get one in there for you before we sign off. I see 420s rolling around on us in another 2 minutes. So sure, we might as well get another one packed up there for old Johnny Boy. Zaggles, Martin, straight up. The product knowledge like an endless rabbit hole, but so interesting. The co-workers were amazing. Like I said, best job I've ever had. So it seems like there was more than one benefit there to that job, or more than one kind of attractant to it. It seems like having co-workers as well that were amazing, an incredible benefit, because I know what it's like to work in a place where co-workers are not amazing, to put it nicely, and it can certainly be fucking a nightmare, make you want to quit your job kind of shit. So good to hear that the co-workers are amazing. Lee says, fucking stone off me head, love. First smoke after work. Well, welcome to the show, Lee, and glad to hear that, yes, the first smoke has gone well. A couple of more seconds there, guys, as 420 rolls around. Where is it 420 out there? Let's have a look at the 420 world clock. 45 seconds. It will be 4:20 in Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, Montevideo, Falkland Islands, French Guiana, Miquelon, Nuuk, Greenland, Asunción, Campo Grande, and Santiago. Bop. 10 seconds, guys. 10 seconds. John Finnegan, lungs at the ready, buddy. You ready to receive this? Act of civil disobedience going out to none other than Johnny Finnegan. So, blaze on up, guys. It's 4:20. Oh, yummy. So happy 420 to anybody out there in those areas. It's always 420 somewhere, so we're all celebrating together right across the world because we're a global community of cannabis consumers. Yes, we all unite under that one love. Yes, one love. One plant, one love. Guru Ganja God, I've made great friends through this, Martin. Thank you. Not a bother girl, Guru, and good to have you on board, dude. Nice one. I hope all is well down there in the old... Yes, you're going to get battered, actually, where you are, Guru. I won't point out where you are, but you're on the coast of Ireland, where it's going to get battered. We have a red alert coming in here. Kids are off school and all tomorrow. They're delighted. Red weather warning. So a big storm hitting the island of Ireland tomorrow. So it should be good fun. Actually, I have to get on to my buddy about that, actually, because I'm supposed to be teaching a self-defense class in a secondary school here in Cork tomorrow. So that's probably going to be cancelled. Yay, day off. Live stream, anyone? We get through the storm together. James Clary, intuition, insight, doctrine and signatures, clairvoyance, as well as trial and error. Yeah, talking about how the old ways, is it? Kind of, sorry, I'm lost there. Plant knowledge is kind of what I'm thinking. As well as trial and error, like that's when I was talking about trial and error there earlier. So clairvoyance, like, do you not think yeah, interesting. Kingdoms on TV. Some of you lots' favourite strain. Mine this year have been Wedding Cake and Fallen Angel from Devil's Harvest. Fallen Angel. Man, that's interesting. You talk about that because a buddy of mine, when we were in Thailand for a month, when we were doing a tolerance break, he was not talking about the strain that he got in Amsterdam on the way, because he got a stopover in Amsterdam on his way there. And he got a strain by the name of Blue Fallen Angel, if memory serves correct. And he talked about it so much for the fucking duration of that trip. Like, by the time I got back to Amsterdam, it's all I could think of, and I couldn't find it. I went down to the shop he was talking about, and it was sold out. It was off the menu. It was done. No more. It's like, no. Blue Fallen Angel. So from Devil's Harvest, you say. Must check it out. And Wedding Cake as well, you know, shout out to Endo with Amy, who's also been a guest in the past. She talks about Wedding Cake. Apparently a lot of endometriosis sufferers out there say that Wedding Cake is a very good strain to alleviate the symptoms of the condition of endometriosis. Again, just check out Amy's Instagram and stuff, Endo with Amy. Great lady out there. But yes, Wedding Cake is something that she's very interested in. So it's interesting you say that as well. That's who comes to mind when you talk about strains. Favourite strain for myself, if I have to pick one, it's probably Lemon Skunk from, I think it was Reserva Privada or DNA Genetics. Again, they're both the same company, just different parts of the globe. But one of the two of them done a Lemon Skunk, and it was absolutely fantabulous. Brought some with me on a cruise over in the Mediterranean. We were cruising around where did we go? We went to like the Fungarola, I think, or something like that, to another island, and then back to Spain again. But I can remember like having some of this Lemon Skunk on the deck, like just as I'd go out onto the deck to have a smoke. And the lads, it was what was that, the Royal Caribbean, they had a lot of Caribbean dudes on it, like a lot of black dudes on there, like Caribbean dudes. And yeah, they were like, fucking, yeah, man, give me the nod as they're walking by, like, you know, because smoking the cannabis up on the deck. Funny enough, I was like, yeah, they recognize the good shit. Yes, happy memories. It's always good to have a cannabis strain, you know, that you have kind of memories associated with. You know, there's a couple, you know, it was the G13 Amnesia Haze. That was my very first cannabis strain that I tried when I arrived in Amsterdam. So that will always hold a place too in my memories, you know, as being as a strain that will bring back some memories, happy memories too. Guru Ganja Goat says, I just ordered Wedding Cake Kingdom. Hope it arrives. Nice. Fingers crossed there for your Guru as well, man. Hopefully that arrives, yeah. Hype says, excuse me. Matanuska Thunderfuck. So that's obviously a cannabis strain. I've heard of Alaska Thunderfuck. So obviously that's like another place that they just said, we want our own Thunderfuck. Everybody needs a Thunderfuck. Anybody got a Cork Thunderfuck? It'll come. There's a bit of a pun there, I'd say. Kingdoms on TV says, you will be blessed. Hope it does too. Nice. Yeah, going out the Guru Ganji Goat. Man Falls 420 in the Falkland Island, Guan. In the Falkland Islands, Guan. Sorry, was that my pronunciation? Billy Bonds 420, Smoky. Yes, a lot of 420s out there. Nice one, lads. Jamaican, not favourite but most interesting right now is cream and cheese 1-to-1. First strain I've grown with real pain-killing properties, high CBD and THC. So cream and cheese, very nice. I checked that one out there. So cream and cheese Sonic. What? Oh, they're characters in Sonic, are they? Cream and cheese are characters in Sonic. Cream and cheese. Cannabis strain. 1-to-1 cannabis seed. So who's this coming from? Sorry, just getting up the cannabis strain there now. Just looking at it on, where is it coming up there? That's growdiaries.com. So genetics from Seedsman. It's a CBD crossed with UK cheese. Seedsman CBD crossed with a UK cheese. It's a 9 to 10 week flowering variety. And yes, as pointed out, it's 1-to-1 THC and CBD. This is a grow report. I don't think they're going to have genetic profile there at all. Let's have a look, seed finder. So 18% CBD. So 18% CBD and 18% THC. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was trying to find out. So that's an interesting strain. I wonder it has fucking very effective pain relieving qualities. But I wonder, like, you know, how the high CBD content then, you know, for say a first time cannabis consumer, I wonder would this be a very good strain, you know, for somebody in a lot of pain but who's not used to cannabis, be getting access to something that's like such a high content of CBD and THC in a 1-to-1 ratio. I wonder would that mitigate the effect there, because like I know cannabis, THC and CBD have the same affinity for the same receptor. So that means when they compete, they kind of win out in a 50-50. But CBD is also taken up by another receptor. So I wonder, does that affect that ratio then a little bit? Interesting. But yeah, nice one for that. It's always good to hear what people's experience is with different strains out there. So shout out to anybody who needs some genetics, you know, there you go, cream and cheese. If you're somebody looking for genetics with real pain-killing properties, to quote Jim Making here, get on it, guys. Nice one, Jim. Appreciate that, guys. And anybody else who's got like feedback like that, like I'm always interested to hear that in the comments. It's great when people share their own experiences there, because it helps inform other people then, because this is basically how we've got our information for the best part of the last couple of decades. It's been peer-to-peer education. Shows like High and Homegrown and places like the Percy'sGrowroom.com, you know, it's kind of how people share their experiences there and learn from one another. I know for me over the years it was rollitup.org. That's where I got a bit educated in the course, erowid.org. But yeah, two great places I spent a lot of time on online. That was nice. Cheers, dude. Not a bother at all, John. Not a bother at all. Glad you enjoyed it, buddy. Guru Ganjigo says, nice man, I must get me going. Yes, definitely, Guru, man. I'm telling you, like, and if you want something to keep you off the drink, dude, like that's another way to go about it. Like, growing, like, of anything is an incredible therapeutic pursuit. To watch something grow, to give it love and nurture it, you know, to get it from a seed, a teeny tiny little seed, to such a fucking humongous, like, and gift bearing plant. That's a very therapeutic pursuit to undertake, and I could definitely say, you know, that it'll definitely distract you enough to kind of, you know, as they say, you know, the what is it, the idle hands do the devil's work. Don't keep those hands idle, guys. You know, get them down in the dirt. Start growing cannabis. open up the Cannabis Growers Bible, you know, get onto Ed Rosenthal's book there, or Jorge Cervantes also has another Growers Bible. Two great books, two places where you're going to get a lot of knowledge. Percy'sGrowroom.com, you know, don't let the devil do the idle work there. And if the cops catch you or anything like that, just tell them I told you do it. Tell him I told you do it. Point to this episode. Save it right now. Write it down. Say Martin told me to do it, and he's there, and he'll show up in court. And I'll show up in court for any one of you if you want me to. Not a bother at all. Go in there as an expert witness. Got an honours degree in herbal science, and I know how to use it. Zaggles, my favourite strain I had last was stuffed French toast. Interesting. I've never heard of stuffed French toast again. I love these cannabis strain names. Like, there's so many. There's almost as many cannabis strain names as there is COVID strain names right now. Jokes. Highest THC I've had at 29.32%. Tasted like dough. Nice. Very nice. Did you actually get it tested, or was that what the was on the packet, like what the seeds were said to contain? Again, it shouldn't vary too much from that, but it can sometimes, you know, depending on the quality of the breeder there, it could vary quite a bit as well. But still, you know, nonetheless, that's quite a high THC content there as well, at 29.32% THC. Stuffed French toast. Yeah, I see Kingdom's asking questions as well. Let's put it into Seed Finder. Let's see if Seed Finder is any good. Search and find. Stuffed French toast. No, it's not finding anything, is it? Nope. Oh, we see one here. Quest. Q West. So stuffed French toast, guys. Yes, I'm over 19. Oh, there we go. Q West stuffed French toast. Never heard of it. Q West is a potent hybrid with an aroma similar to sweet cinnamon, stuffed French toast from Q West is a potent hybrid with an aroma similar to sweet cinnamon, orange, and earthy pine. Ah, man, doesn't that just like sound so fucking wonderful? Coming in at a high THC of says 28.9% THC here, with an aroma of cinnamon, citrus, and herbal hints of herbal pine. Listed at $55 there for a half a quarter, 3.5 grams. There you go, man. That's so amazing. Smell. The product arrived in a glass container with security lid. We popped open the top. We had to scratch our heads for a minute because we were expecting something on the sweet side, but it was not. After studying for a few minutes, we began to detect the subtle smell that was kind of like syrup with a touch of burnt cinnamon. There is also a clear earthy, there is also a clear earthy, but this stays more to the background. Jeez, these guys are very Q West included a moisture shield, so the buds were quite fresh, but we'll discuss that in the appearance section. Appearance, as mentioned above, a moisture shield was included, which makes a big difference in terms of the freshness of the product. The dense marble-sized buds were covered in a heavy layer of trichomes, which covered a combination of dark and light green leaves interwoven with orange hairs. Visually, there is nothing wrong with this product. The flavour then. This flavour follows a very similar path to the smell. However, we found the cinnamon taste came through a bit stronger. That's very nice. I love cinnamon. Especially around Christmas time, guys. Get me some of this. Like, somebody send me some of this there for Christmas. That sounds fucking amazing. Having that there now with a nice hot chocolate. Yum, 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 with a bit of whipped cream. Oh, yum. A bit of shavings of cinnamon then on top. Oh, the happy days. Overall, there is a sweet earthy that leans more on its earthy, but there were definitely points where the cinnamon became more prominent. The flavour was nice, but not exactly what we expected. Experience, then this is another QS product we liked, but I have a tough time recommending given the price. if it again, John, look at man, they're giving out about the price, 3.5 grams, $55 Canadian, I think that is. So do you know that's about like what, €40? I don't know. Sorry for Canadians if that's underestimating the strength of your currency. If this was $10 to $15 less, then it would be totally a different game. However, with that being said, it delivered physical buzz that felt like you are wearing a helmet combined with a moderately strong mental high. The experience is not bad, but when you're selling a half a quarter for close to $60, we think it needs to be special. That sounds special to me, man. It's got some cinnamon. Fucking hell. Getting all upset over here, like that they don't care this is special. But you know what I mean? When you're spoiled for choice in the legal industry, you can afford to be choosy. Long story short, you can find similar and even better for less money. And give me some of that cinnamon stuff. I'll pay them their $55, not a bother. Look at that, like, yummy. So yes, very nice stuff there. Nice one to cannybros.ca for your review there. Nice one, appreciate that. Lots of comments coming in. What's happening? I see Mackie's after dropping in, is it? Mackie likes that cream cheese stuff. It's excellent. Oh, that's John Finnegan we're talking about, Mackie. Cream cheese. It's cream and cheese. Does Mackie like that stuff as well? Nice. Seed Finder is great, says Kingdoms on TV. Yeah, it's another handy one as well. I like Leafly. That's my kind of go-to for strain finding. But yeah, sometimes you just use Google and you just use whatever comes up. Soul Rebel, what's happening? Wedding cheesecake from Sensei is very nice. Sweet and strong. Yes, nice. Sensei Seeds you're talking about there, yeah. Sensei Seeds is a very good seed breeder as well. And yeah, I've tried some of their genetics in the past and was very, very happy. Jim Macon says CBD cancels out the THC. There's no real psychoactive high. So even at such a high THC, there's no real psychoactive. Do you know what I mean? It really goes to show the benefits there that this type of cannabis could have. Then should people have access to it, especially people who have no past experience with cannabis and they would like to use it therapeutically. Hype says, I had a 95% isolate to a few dog joints and eased back pain and jaw pain almost instantly. That's nice to hear, man. Good stuff. Excuse me. Kingdoms on TV. Yes, shouting out to Sean Campion. Strong thoughts. Hope you're back in 100% in no time. Much love. Good stuff. Guru Ganja Goat's writing all this down. Good stuff, Guru Ganja Goat. Glad to hear there's someone taking notes out there, and this is a benefit to people. Erlewood was great, says Billy Bonds. Man, it was epic. And it still is. Still a great place to go if you need to get knowledge there on nearly any and all drugs. Godboy says Pennywise is the same, I'm pretty sure, as well as Black Harlequin. So some of these one-to-one strains out there. That nice one for that BOI. Good BOI, good boy. Godboy. I get it now. Godboy. Newton Cork. Godboy. Chilbert UK FYI, one-to-one strains are around 10% max each possible currently. And nice one for that there, Chilbert. So yeah, sometimes there is these overestimations as to the content. Sometimes the one-to-one strain, mightn't always be one-to-one either. There can be variance within the phenotypes unless the breeder is really putting the effort to nail down the genetics to ensure that the seed stock is going to contain only that one chemovar, which is basically the chemo profile of the plant. Jim Macon says, gave some to a girl who doesn't usually smoke the other night. She got a little high but was raving how the pain in her knees was totally gone. Man, anecdotal, that's what they'll call that, but do you know what I mean? That's one person's experience, and to have pain removed from your any part of your body, that can be life-changing for people. Chilbert UK says 36% cannabinoids is not realistic, so don't believe it. Yeah, that's true. I've seen it, they like top out. But again, you look at kind of how they talk about the cannabinoids. So they talk about percentage. So is it a percentage of the total cannabinoids? So it's like 18% like THC, 18% CBD. Then it's just got like a breakdown of all the other cannabinoids there, and you know, all the minor ones maybe, and the rest of it. Who knows? Like I'm not too sure how. Like I would always assume that it's a percentage of weight. That's what I would always assume, that it should be a percentage of weight. And then therefore, yes, like more than 36% is not like possible without you having just a big pile of gloop in your hand, like a big gloopy bud, you know, just covered in slime almost. Chilbert UK says, growing White Widow 1-to-1 at the moment from Dutch Passion, 9 to 11% of each, THC and CBD claimed. We'll find out soon. Good stuff, Chilbert. Nice one. Lee says, thanks Martin, I'll give a shout out sometime. Nice one, Lee. Guru Ganja Goat says, laugh out loud, Martin, legend. Nice one. Jim Macon also getting in the comments saying, yeah, the numbers game is all marketing. Yeah, there's a lot of marketing around these cannabis strains, you know. You know, especially when it comes to the Eagles as well, you know. A lot of them just making this kind of uniform claim, 500 plus grams per meter squared. It's like a unicorn across the board. Some strains then they might bump it up to 600 grams and charge you an extra tenner then for those seeds. Funny how it works, like. Kingdoms on TV, White Widow, that always brings me back to the 1990s. One of the best. It's been a while, actually, no. I believe, actually, Podge, shout out to Podge. He hooked me up with a little bit of White Widow recently. But before that, it's been a long time since I had some proper, you know, White Widow. Podge's stuff was quite nice as well. But definitely that, like, it didn't have, like, and no offense, Podge, it didn't have the qualities reminiscent of White Widow that I was familiar with. But yeah, you know, no offense there, Podge, it was lovely stuff, nice one. But I can remember a White Widow strain that I got in the past, and a few times in Amsterdam as well, and it just carried a very, like a very distinct, very musty kind of a flavour and smell. But yeah, Podge's stuff was quite nice. Definitely delivered in body effect anyway as well, Podge, so nice one. Zygles bought SFT out in Canada, my dispensary probably under a different name. SFT? Shit, was I talking about SFT earlier? I'm missing on that one. What's going on then? Other comments. Billy Bonds, can I have 2 house cues, please? Pop. Yes. Love it. Wouldn't it be great? Like, imagine if you just literally go online, you know, clickety-clack, order some free, like, not free, but legal cannabis and have it delivered to your door like they can in some places in America now and Canada as well, I think. Other comments, man. Falls. Martin, how difficult do you reckon it'll be to get all the licenses and scissors for the red tape and things for dispensaries when it's legal? I don't know. I hope not too difficult, because that'll really just encourage or propagate a black market then to continue. I hope to just make it easily accessible as it is to kind of start off any other business. You know, obviously we need to control numbers and stuff like that. But like it shouldn't be too restrictive. It should be easy enough to get. The license fees shouldn't be a barrier either. It should be affordable and achievable for kind of the small person as well as the big person. But it all depends, you know, it really does. It all depends. It'll be interesting to see what Gino Kenny does now next year. With Gino Kenny's bill, he's proposing to follow in the footsteps of Luxembourg and kind of Malta as well, where they're legalising the home growing of cannabis, you know, decriminalising it effectively and the possession of it in a small way. But it'll all depend on that. You know, if Gino can do that and we can achieve then, like, you know, these cannabis social clubs, these kind of not-for-profit models of cannabis growing and collectives and forming social venues around those then as well, then feck it, like I'm not too worried then about the whole money-making side of it with dispensaries and all of that stuff. I would be quite happy with homegrown and social clubs. Because that would be great. That would achieve a lot if we can form homegrown and form social clubs, or if we can do home growing and form social clubs. That's all we really need. Like, you know, we need access to safe, quality assured cannabis. labs and stuff to test that cannabis, and a place then for us to consume and enjoy that cannabis and to socialize with other people who also likewise like to do the same thing, you know. So that's all I'm kind of interested in, just to remove the criminal sanctions around it, to undo the criminal convictions, you know, given to people in the past, and to allow people to form these associations and to grow cannabis collectively and enjoy it as God intended. John Finnegan, fat fecker with your creamy hot chocolate. Man, that like, I can't think of Amsterdam without thinking of hot chocolates. If I think of like, if somebody says Amsterdam to me, like within a couple of seconds, I have a picture of a mug of Chocomel. Oh man, as I think about it now, my mouth is actually watering. Oh, yum, like a hot Chocomel with whipped cream and some of those like coffee biscuits at the side. Good Lord, man, and some fat spliffs then, like just big fat blunts, like just, you know. Yes. Yes, I'm a fat fucker, John. I'm a fat fucker. Sorry. Guilty. Guru Ganjigo says, write this down. Add me when you're there. Could do with help when I grow advice. Nice one. Guru Ganjigo as well. Check out percysgrowroom.com. Good forum over there. Good community of people as well. Yeah, and they'll accommodate you. They'll answer any questions you have around cannabis growing and stuff like that. So do check them out by all means, definitely. Sorry, just had a message there. I was on about the schools being closed tomorrow, and I just got a message saying they were closed tomorrow. So yeah, I had to check that one out. Others out there, Kingdoms on TV. When I was gaming last year for a bit, but moved back home to Ireland. Haven't really had the chance to get back on. So that's onto Discord. So that's going to Guru Ganjigo with Hunter K as well. What's happening, Hunter? Says, hi all, hope everyone's good. Sorry I'm late, just finished work. All good, Hunter K. I was even a little bit late myself today. Wasn't work, daddy duties, but welcome to the show, man. Hope all is good. Hopefully you're going to continue to get out for those walks, you know, not only for the campaign, but, you know, just for the good of your health as well. Can't be all work. You got to get out there and enjoy the outdoors as well. But hopefully the new job is going good as well, Hunter K. Congratulations on it. Hope it's all that you hope it to be, and I hope the pay is good, dude. Isn't it strange today, like, you know, when you go looking at jobs online, that they don't even list how much they're paying you? You always have to think that pay is going to be so shit, so bad that they won't even advertise it with the job. Guru Ganjigo, what's happening? Martin has a place, has a group there. I have one too. It's fun, good place to chat shit. Yeah, it is. Discord is pretty good. Don't frequent there too much myself, but it's pretty. I can see its usefulness. Hunter K, hi, how's it go? Ankle is doing pretty well, thanks. Good to hear as well. The ankle's doing good, Hunter. Manfall says, all I want is my own cannabis club called Whiz and Bob's Bits and Bob's Cannabis Emporium. Man, that's a tongue twister. Called Whiz and Bob's Bits and Bob's Cannabis Emporium. Good name though, good name. You better trademark that shit there quick before somebody gets there on you. You know, they might whip that. Alright. Let's do another bowl, guys, and let's sign off. We're 2.5 hours into today's show. Jeez. Elijah's due a bottle there now quite soon. That's how long we've actually been streaming. Like, it's like due another bottle. I fed him just before I went streaming, and it's almost 3 hours now, so he's due. By golly, do those babies, when it comes to feed, they work like clockwork. So right, let's blaze another one up. Where did the comments go? I've seen some new comments coming in, but they're not showing up on my side. Ah, nice. I'm having a look over here now on the live stream. And Kingdoms on TV is shouting out to Sean Campion. My opinion, but we'll be trial and error on a strain that your body will love and know that's the one in particular to your needs. Most will always be suggestions, but helpful ones. And Hunter K saying out there as well, we'll definitely keep up with the walks when possible and definitely think I'd go mad if I didn't get out. Nice, agree with you there as well. I'm definitely at the risk of that at the moment. I've been definitely lacking on the exercise side of things because I used to be really on top of that before. But you know, as I'm saying it here to you now, hopefully that motivates me to kind of get up in the morning and get out for that daily jog as I used to before. Because I was definitely lacking the motivation there for a while. Hunter K saying as well, the new job doesn't seem too bad so far. Got 10 weeks of training to go. Nice. 10 weeks of training. Must be a tough job. Best of luck with the 100k. Best of luck. Let's blaze one up there to 100k and in celebration of his new job, but also in defiance of our law. A little civil disobedience here on the 420 news as always. Get your comments in there, guys. We'll start signing off in like less than 2 minutes. Any last pointers people want to get in? Get them in, or forever hold your peace, or at least until next Friday. Guru Ganja Goat saying, thanks for everything, Martin. You are saving lives. Not a bother at all, Guru. I'm glad to hear, man, you think so highly of the work that I do here, you know. I was hoping just to form a community and just to support one another, but if I can you go and say that I'm saving lives, so if I am doing that, you know, that makes my work even more worthwhile. So thanks very much, Guru. Others out there as well, Kingdoms on TV, brilliant stream today. Really enjoy like-minded people. Much love to you all. Yeah, guys, I love the kind of the support for one another that's there within the audience. I notice as the show is going on, I know I don't get to read out all your comments, as a lot of them disappear on me as I go back to them later on in the show. But I do notice the constant stream of comments just coming in and people just communicating with one another. And the groups that have formed around it, you know, people making friends here within the audience, and on the Telegram chat that we have as well on the side. It's great. And if anybody wants to get in on that, go over to the Martin's World podcast, or sorry, martinsworld.ie, to the 420 News blog. Check out the fundraiser there for Chase, which is still active as well, guys. I might add, there's still a couple of tickets there. I've actually to turn back on my phone there again to see if there is requests for tickets, but those tickets still are available. We've just under half of them available, so do get in touch. €10 ticket, but over there you'll find a link also to the Telegram group. Recently set up a Telegram group that you can join, and I'll be able to send updates there to you. But once you're in there, you know, if you've access, then you can just message me through that, and I'll add you into another community chat where we can all chat back and forward. So do definitely check that out, guys. Guru Ganji God, he's our president, Martin for president. Fuck it, I want to be Taoiseach first. Let the better Martin win. Martin v Martin for Taoiseach. Hype say Martin is captain of our ship. Ship's made of hemp and plastic. Martin is fantastic. Nice. Do you know what, Hype? It's funny that you say that, alright? I once got a keyring at a novelty gift store down in Killarney. My parents bought it for me, but it had the name Martin on it. And it had a meaning of what the Martin was, and it was like a Greek meaning. It was like Martin, Greek meaning, a steady ship on a stormy sea, a person with high leadership qualities. So that was something I got when I was like a young age, And it was something I always kind of remember. It was just kind of like, is that true? Does your name give you superpowers? All hail the Greek gods, give me power. I want to be a steady ship in a stormy sea, as the mess caused by Prohibition, the waves caused by Prohibition in my life certainly would resemble that of a ship in a fucking stormy sea. Nice one, Hunter K, for just joining the Telegram group. You won't be able to comment on that one, but I'll be able to add you into another Telegram group from there then as well, Hunter K, which is another kind of a more public, open chat one. So we'll get you in there as well. Oh, just lost all the comments again. There was a few comments coming in there from Twitch. Boom. Just goes to show you shouldn't believe everything you read, Martin Condon. Oh, Johnny boy. Yeah, very nice to have those memories. Yeah, certainly was. Yeah, I'll still never forget actually going to the fish farm as well that same weekend. Doing a little bit of trout fishing down there where they had the seal sanctuary as well down by Dingle. Happy days. Bob Marley is out there as well, says Martin was my dad's name. Great show, man. Keep up the good work and the good fight. Nice one for that, Bob Marley. Appreciate that. Kind words from the man himself, from beyond the grave. And Sean T says, thank you, Kingdoms on. County Cork man myself will keep the faith and hope for good strains. Thank you, man. So good stuff, guys. Nice one for supporting one another in the group or in the community, in the hot box there, in the festive hot box now. Yes, guys, look forward to the next show. We'll be back again on Friday, guys. So enjoy your week. I'll do my best to get back doing stuff on the Wednesdays. We might do some live streams in the evening. We might try to get some live interviews done in the evenings, actually, on Wednesdays. Kind of around this time, around 7 or 8 o'clock. So let's see what we can do there. But until Friday, anyway, guys, I won't make any promises about this Wednesday. But until Friday, stay blazed, guys. Look, oh, wait. Stay blazed. Yeah. Stay blazed, guys, and keep her lit. Stay safe out there, guys. Watch out for those popo. Remember, that 6-week fucking checkpoint campaign is still active. So be safe, guys. You don't want to be a part of the 420 news as one of the headlines. You only want to be in the hot box, not in the hot seat in the court. So be safe, guys. Peace and love. Catch you soon. Bye-bye.